that, as I'll be smashing that one out. I'm basically, you know, I'm going to flex it now. No one will argue with this. Easily top 300. No, dude, I was top Huntress. When I actually pounded that game out, because I couldn't make every test. I missed the last few, bar the most recent one. I was pounding out, and I was getting top DPS, top stats on Huntresses. So yeah, fear me, dude. Bow and arrow in my hands. Oof, it's the Hanzo arc all over again. Project Loki is still under NDA. A lot of it anyway. So I can say brief things, but I can't be too specific. So I can say I slap people around in test phase, for example. But yeah, 25th, guys. I'll be showing it off. So today, though, we're going to obviously want to show off more Age of Empires 4. I've also been playing more Dark and Darker in the background. I'm pretty much just loot monkey, and I don't feel like I'm trying to kill many people. Dude, I swear, like I said to my friend last night, mages are pussies. Dude, it's so easy to be a mage compared to like a warrior. And the thing is, like, you know, so, and with the hunt, I used to do hunter, and with hunter, they kind of made it harder because it's now more claustrophobic, but at the same time, they made it easier. They just made it easier to play the really piece of crap little, the little mode, right? Which is you place traps everywhere on the doors. One game's to be out, not in early development. So there will be some access temporarily, right? But like, I don't know when exactly it's going to full release, but I look forward to it. I'm excited for it. Like, I really, really want to actually get my dude. I want to make some content around that. Like I said, so once again, can't reveal anything too specific. What I can say though is I asked the guy about like esports plans, and I responded to him, I will build you esports team. That's how much confidence I have in it. It's like the only issue is like it's not big money like a Tencent or a Valve funding it. So that might be its one limitation, which is why it's going to need a lot of community drive and support to achieve its goals, right? Step one though, on AOV4, let's quickly see if there's actually anyone live we can watch, and if not, we can hop into some replays. What do you guys think? Do we actually just do the Mia Micah Voldemar show match from before? We could. Yeah, I know Moldemar's been gaming. Voldy boy. He did claim he's going to make it all the way to the top. My boy on the climb. Oh my god, dude. Ads. Quick, someone give me their Spotify account. Did you guys see the pricing on Spotify, by the way? I swear they raised it again. I think it's like £12 or £13 for a solo subscription. £18 for a duo subscription. Here's the crazy one. If you just pay £2 more, you can get 6 accounts. I'm like, what the f... It's because they know barely anyone's going to do that. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Is that Fablob I see? Hold up. Right, let's have a look, see if there's any familiar faces. I think. Because I could have sworn that I saw Voldemar searching when I checked AOE4 World. I think Louis was also online. So let me just double check that. You pay like €6. How do you pay €6? Where do you live? Yo, clearly I need VPN. A VPN subscription just ran out, actually. I mean, I didn't have to worry about this because my friend had... Oh, it's because you're a student. There you go. That makes sense. I didn't have to worry about this because my friend actually had like the full 6-person subscription, but like he basically went on a burner and just unsubscribed to everything. Bosnia? Jesus. So, you know, like landmines, but €6 Spotify, right? It's a balance, you know? Gives and takes. Alright, let me check Louis. Louis hasn't really been having many hard matchups at the moment because he keeps basically getting low rank, poor people. I feel bad for them, man. He had a game against Balthazar. Wait, wasn't that Myriad's account? Why is Myriad playing French? What's wrong with you? Can I find that game? Dude, we didn't cast that game, right? Do you guys remember if we cast French versus Ibids? I don't think we did. That does just sound like a catastrophe. That sounds like a train wreck waiting to happen, though. right? Like, that has to be one of France's hardest matchups. No, I don't think we don't. Let me check. I'll check Alpha Stars count. If we can get that game, that's going to be dope. Way safer than UK, USA. Dude, I got a Bosnian friend. Maybe where you live, but full encompassing Bosnia is safer than everywhere else is bold. Also, I don't know about the UK, mate. We don't just have guns lying around everywhere, not USA. Alright, so let's see if we can get this game I was talking about. It's a little bit of a long shot because I think it might be too far back. But I really want it because I noticed something glancing at it that makes it really tasty. No, I don't think we can do it. That's sad because that game, the French Ivids one, the reason I really wanted it is I just glanced at it and basically Louis spammed Desert Raiders. Living in the Netherlands? Oh, yeah, dude, Netherlands is chill. You say looking like you as if, like, Netherlands is biased. I feel like Netherlands is one of the most welcoming countries that I'm aware of anyway. So, there is a Kiljadi Dimmu game from 2 days ago. I'm pretty sure we never cast that. So let me get that one loaded up for you folks. So you'll be stuck with my ugly mug for a second more. Day and night difference, no crazy people in the streets, low crazy. Yeah, dude, so, wait, but you said UK, USA. So hold on a second. Your experience is you lived in the USA but not the UK. But you piled my country in. My sheep-loving, crop-harvesting, pitchfork-wielding country in with shotgun mania. What the bruh? Like, can you not? Ain't all that way, you know? Oh. I feel so profiled right now. I mean, sure, we spawned them a long time ago, right? But they're not 13 colonies anymore. There are many more than 13. So it's not our responsibility, you know? Like, if I raise my kid watching, like, you know, murderous movies for years and years and then release them upon the world, that's not my fault anymore. Same logic we applied to America. Okay, so I really don't like that right there. That generalism. Slavs are, no, not all Slavs are. I know one that's just a gym junkie that's a giant teddy bear. It's not always the case. That's like saying all English people are dickhead. We might have a point. Just spitting on my own country. Should we get ready to go? Oh, he left the scores up. 1 second, let me get rid of that. If my thing loads, that'd be nice. Reset score, toggle score. You see sword fights from the streets of England? Dude, you need to stop watching Game of Thrones. Bruh, like, nice to see that you found a new TV show to watch, but that's not indicative of real life. You think... Alright. Alright, perfect way to begin this cast. You actually think English people can afford swords in the current economy? Maybe Dimmu, who lives in Sweden, where you have to be rich to live there, but most of us can't. That's right, folks. We're back with more Age of Empires 4 action. We've got Team Liquid's Dimmu going up against a local Scandinavian. So the Finn is Kiljadi. So Malians versus Abbasids. I was intrigued when I saw this matchup, because I don't feel like this is one that comes out too much at the moment. Malians have kind of become more of a situational pick, and the places they are getting picked, the Abbasids are not. A perfect example in tournament play right now is Socotra. Socotra is great for Malians, terrible for Abbasids. I don't think I've ever seen someone try to experiment with them there. So they haven't really crossed paths that much. But when you get on the ladder, it kind of opens the floodgates. And we are going to be on Rocky River. I don't know, man. I feel good to see this map again. I feel like it's been a hot second since we got to cast this map. We're always doing these tournament games at the moment, or we're seeing Dry Arabia, Yawn, Lipany, but Rocky River seems to have kind of fallen by the riverside. Curious to see what we're going to get as an opening, because Killjadi, it looks like he's going for a dog drop. Okay, that's cool. So this is like a pseudo TC effect, right? Because the logic in this matchup is that Abbasids will still go 2 TC, and Malians will have to address that because otherwise the Abbasids kind of just inflate at a ridiculous rate. But by adding in the docks, there's still the possibility to go for TC as well. It just inflates you even faster. And okay, that was a bit weird. Why did he... He changed his mind last second there, and I'm not really sure why. He looked like he was going to block one of the fish. I understand cancelling for that, but there's no reason not to do double dock here. Remember, the Abbasids only pay 75 wood per dock, so a brilliant expense to expand on this type of map. It's why Abbasids became a fairly popular pick on Four Legs, if you guys remember, because their ability to just flood multiple ponds at once. Malians on the other side shouldn't really be engaging with this. Would you like to know what diverse and innovative thing the Malians are going to do? They're going to build cows. They'll build their eco at home. It's pretty much the bread and butter, or the bread and beef, I guess, of this civ. But let's talk win conditions for these two. For the Abbasids, I think they have a pretty strong time trending towards Castle Age with a little bit of feudal investment. Logic being, if you invest in longbows with composite bows on the horizon, you can eventually actually beat jabs with your own archers. And Abbasid Dynasty archers will always beat Malian archers in Castle because poison gets eclipsed by quicker attack speed. So I think, for Dimmu, he's probably looking for a very early castle point where he can just flood sofas. That's his redeeming quality. But he wants to be fast about it, because if you let things scale, let's say you drag out in a feudal and feudal engagement for 20 minutes and you both reach castle at the same time, the Abbasids should have had a second TC, so they'll have an eco lead. But on top of that, they should have probably 40 or 50 archers, as long as the game hasn't gone terrible for them, to immediately juice up. Butter comes from cows? True. Wait, so it's butter and beef, I guess? Wait, wouldn't, like, butter and beef, isn't that like the equivalent of, like, if a cannibal cooked you and then doused you in your own blood is like a topping? Okay, I know that's not the exact equivalent, but, like, I want to try and remain child-friendly, so I'm not going to give the exact equivalent of this milky substance from the cow. Anyway, Manticore is on the way. It looks like we've already got the mill down. A nice position at the back here for Fulani as well, away from any pressure. Other side of this, we have got military wing, so pretty standard play coming in there. I'm not going to get away from that cow discussion, am I? Military wing will allow him to apply a little bit of pressure. You have got a loose gold here, and then the secondary is forward, so this is going to force an investment from Dimmu. This is why military wing is so good. It allows you to force a reaction for, I don't want to say free, you're paying the tech up price. But considering military wing has investment value down the line, it is a good investment choice, right? You're saving 300 resources already in terms of production buildings, and then in terms of units, you're saving an additional 320. So when you think about it that way, this tech up kind of pays for itself if you had no intent of building archer spears in the early game. And even if you do intend to follow it up, what it gives you is an early spike point. It's the same reason why the Desert Raider for the Iabids has proven to be an absolute nightmare for so many players. And there you go. Yeah, Dimmu, he's correct in this choice. He immediately drops the archer range. I think he waited until he scouted, right? Yeah, so he glimpsed the military wing and then confirmed the choice. Because every once in a while, an Abbasid player will get cute and go for eco wing. And you don't want to just take the bait and build archer range against that, right? Like, you'd be better served, probably, actually, I think, adding in stables. And this is pretty much the entirety of what you're going to see here from Killjadi. Honestly, people, in the early days with Rocky River, there was 4 fishing on one pond, right? So going up to like 4 to 6 fishing boats was good. Then it got nerfed down to 2, and people were still going 4 fishing boats for a while, but it's just not worth it. Like, the rate at which you burn out this pond doesn't really feel like a great return. It's not too bad for Abbasids because the docks are cheaper, right? But like, you're still paying 75 wood per fishing boat. And every time you invest a fishing boat here, remember, that's like resources you could have put towards something else, like a TC or a unit on land. So we have got the stables follow up. So Killjadi is going for the pretty strong build we've seen a lot out of players at the moment. The idea is you build in 2 horsemen, and that forces an additional reaction out of your opponent, because then they can't just rely on archers to counter. Like, people discovered a while ago, the solution to the military wing was to just drop an archer range. But by Abbasid's evolving with the stables element, which they can afford because fresh food stuff is so easily accessible now, all of a sudden, Dumu's comp doesn't play. He has to add in another layer. It's all about just basically forcing your opponent to overreact to each play. I love this from Killjadi. Already anticipating that this is coming, he's adding in more archers. That's kind of tough, right? Like, Dumu, I thought he might try to go for jabs here instead, but now he doesn't have a direct answer to Killjadi's opening, and it looks like Killjadi is going for a 2TC build. Maybe? Okay, maybe not. We just got a little bit of an over macro there. So extra archer range of blacksmiths, wow. So 1 TC all in with food supplement from the pond. This is kind of wild. I've seen Abbasid do this type of thing in some matchups, and I do usually like the outcome, but the problem now is if you get seen at all, Dumu can just go Donzos plus jabs and camp. Right? That's the atrociously annoying thing about the Malians, is they are one of the most effective civs at tanking in their own base. Because their entire army is hybridized, right? As in, well, they're all ranged. The Donzos are hybridized, they have a melee and a range form, and archers or javelins are ranged. So those choke points, they limit the ability for melee to fight, and they maximize the range DPSing engagements. Something that Malians absolutely thrive at. I think that's another reason why so many people struggle to break Malian bases, right? It's like when you're in that particular matchup, what ends up happening is you have to build archers to contest the fights in choke points. And the Malians are the ones with the counter to that in the forms of javelins. Big camp coming in as well. Wow, Killjadi is sending it, dude. I mean, then again, it is Killjadi, right? What else do we expect? I remember someone said something quite intriguing to me recently, where they highlighted it's quite weird that Killjadi plays so much of the Abbasids considering his playstyle. But you're seeing why, right? Like, I think Abbasids get a bad rap as an eco-boomy civ, but what we're seeing more and more of is this all-in aggression. Even if you go 2TC, it's an immediate investment into kill. This is what can make this civ so effective. Economy that pushes military. Demo ain't waiting around, is he? 3 ranches is about to be full, 4th one on the way. Killjadi needs to get his timing right here, because if he slips, if he makes a mistake, it's going to be castle on the way, and then it's just GG, right? So you have to float the boat here. In fact, what he needs to do is try to posture a bit more aggressively, because right now, he just doesn't know the state of the game. All he knows is that there's a new pit mine up. And on the move he goes. Killjadi hunting for it. We're not looking at made torches here. He's probably going to have to invest in a ram, which is pretty expensive at this stage in the game when you're in a military arms race against your opponent. Right, instead, no, maybe. It's 8 torches, right? It's not the quickest, so there will be a reaction. Dumu almost losing the scout there. Important that doesn't happen because look at the blindness that he plays with here. Running out like this without a scout, like, you just got too much discombobulation, right? Your base isn't connected, so you can't rely on buildings to give you that vision. Dumu realizing because of that he's behind. That was actually a miracle that he got out with the scout, considering that I don't think he realized Killjadi had the steeled arrow. So that scout really should have been dead there. So just keeping it alive while also finding out you're behind on blacksmith techs is a big deal. Has Killjadi been struck by the same disease to make all the young players want to play 1TC? Baltoon, please. Dude, someone screenshot that. Baltoon and Killjadi are going to have to murder each other on land soon. And if Baltoon actually loses to a 1TC all in a Abbasid play, I'm going to walk onto the stage with a screenshot of that comment on an A4 piece of paper and request that he eats the paper. It is intriguing though, right? Like I feel like most of the time in this situation you would see 2 TC. And I don't think it would hurt you too much. You just like drop the TC on the berries or you drop it on the deer. Then again, like the spawn wasn't that great for Killjadi. But we talked about this, right? The idea was to supplement the TC requirement by going for dock drops. But he only done a single dock drop. I was expecting a second and maybe a third. So all that effort does get rid of one pit mine at least. The cowboy is on the move, right? I don't know if you guys know this about us Brits, but we do like our beef. It's a lot of Donzas as well. I wonder, is Dimmu over-investing into a particular unit here? Because I feel like you want to be 2/3 jabs, right? Because even if your opponent has an overwhelming number of horsemen, getting in is the problem. But look at this, dude. Killjadi is teching with Tradewind Castle. What? I mean, you just don't really see this very often. Especially in a game like this where you force Dimmu to invest in an army. And Dimmu's read is kind of on point here, right? I don't know what Killjadi's grand plan is here. Because even if Dimmu waited another 2 minutes to build sofas, waited for a tech up, he's still going to spam sofas here, right? To get out on the map. Sofas or Musafadi. Either way, trade is not safe in this game. What a funky choice out of Killjadi. I mean, I guess maybe this is him conceding. Yeah, actually, 1 TC is not working here, right? I need some sort of economy inflation. But surely this isn't it. He's investing, man. Walk over to the corner. Double marketplace on the way up. Now, the good news, at least, is when you wait for castle, you do get your hands on armored caravans. So if Musafadi are the ones raiding, they're not going to do much damage. Archers with poison arrow will kill quite quick, though. So there's not many units you're going to stop here. Basically, javelins won't do much damage, Donzos won't do much damage, and Musafadi won't do much damage. Everything else is going to slap, though. Raid coming in, Killjadi. Okay, a little bit early here. I think he was hoping to catch the Fulani build-up. Just too soon. A little bit of time being achieved here, but Dimmu not losing a single villager. Instead, it's Killjadi throwing away a handful of horsemen. Now, without a scout, unlikely to venture back into this dangerous territory. Killjadi. Moment of truth. How much can this really pay off? We're going to find out. Traders are on the way. Only get 14 from the first trade. Needs to reroute across to the bottom side. And more are being prepped. So this should be immediately Grand Bazaar, right? Because I think the only way this can not feel bizarre is if you're actually just trying to maximize it. Because what you're doing is taking an inherently difficult risk. So you need to get as much out of it as possible. Well, that's the thing about Toon, right? Like, if you take a long feudal, if I said this at the start of the game, take a long feudal, go towards like 20 minutes, and you eventually both end up in castle, bastards are fine there because usually they have an eco lead off the TC, and composite bows will be poison arrow archers, right? But we are so far off the reservation that is not on the table. Killjadi barely has an eco lead. Dimmu is about to be a mile ahead with the income from the Fulani, and all I see in Killjadi's future is a lot of sofas. And then one sofa. A wrecked sofa on the street that he's sleeping on.
Completed.
Hey, what's up, Blitzkrieg? Thank you very much for the sub. Wait, why is... Dude, once again, Streamlabs is broken. It was fine yesterday. I don't understand anymore. Killjadi with the burn-in. So he's just trying to starve off as much of the income as he can without taking a big engagement because he doesn't know what he's up against yet, right? And I don't think he's going to like it when he sees it. Remember, both players, like, they lost their... well, actually, Dimmu almost lost his scout, kept it alive. But Killjadi, he did lose his with that horseman raid. So running a little blind here. Compsopose is on the way, though. I mean, my only problem here is I don't think your issue is going to be archers on archers. I genuinely think Dimmu just doubles down on sofas, no? Killjadi's at least covering that box. So crossbows are on the way. Dimmu is going to reveal the army. Sofas are being scaled. We've got imported armors now ticking in. And it kind of feels like Killjadi actually needed spears, not crossbows. The biggest concern I have for Killjadi right now is he doesn't have much of a front line. I also love the fact that he's just built a demo ship casually. Yes, Dimmu will totally not notice the fire on the fishing boat. He'll just assume it's an almost dead fishing boat. Looks like we've got a Musafati switch up on the way. I mean, there's not much reason to build Musafati, right? Like I said, it's a way you can raid trade, but it's not the best way. Sofa's work just better, I'd say. I'd rather see him lean more into Sofa plus mass, like archers, I guess, could work. Javs kind of works too. I just think archers probably better for the attack speed. And Poison Arrow does kind of give that edge over, right? We did mention that composite bows will beat Poison Arrow. I stand by that. I wholeheartedly stand by that. Because the reality is, with how quickly archers die in a fight, Poison Arrow doesn't matter as much in that engagement. It's much better against men-at-arms, lancers, gilded units, right? Something that has a big enough health pool that isn't going to die in 3 seconds. And that's kind of the thing I've noticed as well with like Poison Arrow that starts to make it feel overrated in archer and archer fights, right? In general, is you are probably overkilling a target already, and now you're shooting a dead corpse with poison. Compare that to Tower of Victory, composite bows, network of castles. Like all these things are 10 times better because when you're overkilling, you're now just reloading for another shot quicker. This game is really slowed down, huh? And Killjadi is the one kind of exploiting it. Trade is escalating. He's now got 11 in total. On top of that, he also has got a 3rd relic on the way home already. Dimmu is only now playing for those on a delay. Yeah, I kind of feel like Dimmu maybe gave a bit too much breathing room here, but I don't think he realizes this trade yet. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, he's kept the scout with the main army. But at some point, you got to be getting suspicious here. I think he just assumed the standard, which is Culture Wing Tech, and oh my god, no, the timing! Killjadi with the Overmine. He gathered 1,000 stone plus. He could have had this up sooner. Instead, it's going to come at a price. It's going to be a dive in. Sofa's a little bit of a weird pathing going on there. The trade has now been discovered, though, and Dimmu realizes it. He doesn't need to dive for the main, because the main course is now on the flank. He's going to trade underneath the TC, underneath the keep. An ambitious choice here, but Killjadi, realistically, we talked about this before, he does not have a front line. So Sofa's able to get free access straight away. Dimmu, the next wave is going to be more lethal now. Now that he knows this trade, he doesn't need to target the main base anymore, right? This is now a safe point for Killjadi. The problem is, this isn't a TC build where you need your safe point to be here. You need your safe point here, 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 and here. That's a lot of money. If only Killjadi had used Protein Works, he probably would have saved enough money to afford it. God, I know, I had to. Dimmu moves out with a trickle of troops left over. Does find some more traders. The count has been reduced down to 7. Flash attempt by Killjadi. She's not going to do enough damage either, so he's going to have to get away. I'm struggling to see the way unless he can get stone walls up. Wood walls will do nothing against this. We've seen what Marlins do to wood walls. They eat them for breakfast. Plenty of fiber. Mass Musafati, mass Sofa, right? The torch damage is unrivaled with the Sith. So really, if Killjadi wants to feel safe in this game, he might have to even consider crap trades for a while. Oh, nice demo. But when you've got a name like Dimmu, you probably are impervious to demos. Yeah, I think legit what he needs to do is he needs to short wall here and then create a short trade route towards like here. And then gradually get back to the south corner. Because really, Dimmu should be gunning for this now. In fact, the fact that he's adding in so many Musafati kind of tells you he's locking onto it right now. Love the fact we got local knowledge on the way as well. Kind of an underrated tech. I remember when I talked to the devs about this, like the only problem with local knowledge is that it was a Imperial Age tech, if I remember correctly, once upon a time, which just made it suck. Nowadays, it just feels incredible. Because it's basically, you know what it is? It's a weird form of divine restoration that Zhone has, if you think about it. It's not immediate, but the logic is similar in that, like, oh, took a fight, walk away, stealth, and now while you run around, heal. And yeah, armored caravans, we talked about the value of this, it's finally on the way. Problem is, I don't think it's going to make a grand old difference yet. If he's up to like 40 traders, I see it working. The other issue we talked about is like if you're up against Sofas or even Poisoned Arrow Archers, you're going to still die. If you're up against Javs, if you're up against Musafadi, if you're up against Donzos, it's great. But I'm seeing Archers and I'm seeing Sofas still being invested in. Ay. Blocker incoming. Remember, although this is just free, this is simply a hint, a taste of what's to come. In fact, the second wave is already lining up. Outpost is at least going to delay them a little bit here, so that's going to buy Killjadi a bit of time. He needs to use this time well. He's gathering not only from his trade in the south corner, but also the deer over here as well. Might have to shift entirely to the east side. I mean, just look at that Congo line coming out of the base. Just Malian things. Can't kite with Musafadi like Expos do. Not with that attitude. Just micro better, lol. Hey, just click more. How does Killjadi get out of this? I don't think Gulums is the call here. The problem with Gulums is you're up against Sofas, so you do practically no damage. And Musafadi is an assister, right? So, like, the issue I'm seeing is in theory, if Killjadi had infinite food, infinite gold, yes. He has at least got farms coming in, so that ticks one of the boxes, but I think gold is still the thing that's worrying me right now. Despite the fact him currently having 1,200 gold, I'm just questioning whether this is going to last. Because it really shouldn't be against the Malians like this. I mean, if he pulls it off, he's a miracle worker, right? Sofas are starting to hunt on one flank, Musafadi on the other, though. And this is what I was worried about, right? Like, luckily for him, the Musafadi aren't going to be quick killers here. The 5 armor guarantees that. But it is going to chip you down over time. Sofas, however, are much more effective killers. Behind this, what is happening at home? Looks like we've got farms coming in from Dimmu as well. Oof. And this is why the Gulums kind of had me worried, right? Is you've got so much ground to cover here. The problem right now for Killjadi is that lack of walls is leaving him at a huge disadvantage against Malians. Same reason why you watch people lose against Onabagisha with the Japanese, right? If you play open wide map like this, you better have walls. I mean, I'm wondering if Killjadi's concern is he just can't get out to wall now. But I disagree with that, right? Like, your Gulums plus Archer should be unrivaled in a condensed fight, in theory. Not now, not with the military numbers trending as they are, but before. So all you really have to do is move your troops across, build a wall, move your troops across, build a wall, right? You do it piece by piece. It's almost like Killjadi was so paranoid about losing any economy that he's decided to just do the open dance. Gulums. I'm going to have to react to the north side. Keep drop is now on the way. Once again, these Musafadi are sneaking in. Remember, this isn't the main army, by the way. The main army is holding back. Dimmu's getting ready for that punch. 93 military unscaling. Okay, guys. 2 keeps down. 3 more to go. It's kind of that bad, right? He needs to keep here. He needs to keep here. And then he basically needs to keep here. Or a stone wall. I'm wondering if he was just worried that Dimmu was going to bring some rams if he built a stone wall. But that's still a delay, right? It still buys you time to react. Spear's now getting added in by Killjadi. Against mass archers as well. And the wave's on the way. Oh my god. This Civ is not reasonable. The floodgates have opened. And Killjadi splitting his army means he's in trouble right now. He can't get everything out. He can let the Lancers out, but everything else is going to be too slow. He's going to get cut off and cut down. This is essentially half of Killjadi's army up against, what, 2/3 of Dimmu's? Oh, dear God. Sofas are going to march in. They scout out the army. Dimmu. Musafadi. They have stealth to hunt in here towards the farms. for the Huntress on the way as well. Dude, this is the insanity. Marlian economy is crazy at this stage in the game. 67 economy, yet he can afford 110 military and Imperial at the same time. And the clash is underway. The fair that is not going to end well for Killjadi. Villagers also down in his base. Is a little bit distracted as what's happening on the south side. That means also traders as well as villagers dying here. Archer's starting to trade well with that backline. We mentioned this before, that composite bows will beat javelins and poison arrows. But it's not about this fight. It's about what comes next. It's about the damage done. It's now a 20 eco lead for the Marlians and an age-up advantage in the next 20 seconds. I kind of feel bad for Killjadi. He has some interesting ideas here, actually. The Camel Rider idea in particular I really liked. It's a really cool fort up against the sofas. You can then get your hands on the Zoom Zoom, right? The movement speed to actually be able to chase those sofas right here. And it's only 275 resources. I kind of would have loved to have seen if he got to that phase. I think it's an interesting reboom for the Abbasids once that starts happening. But Dimmu, man, he latched on and never let go here. And now with Elite Techs on the way, if Killjadi can't quickly find a way to stabilize and follow into Imp, he feels all but doomed to fall victim to it. Dude, this is a poor man's defense. Once again, he falls back on the idea of wooden walls to stop a Marlian Flood. And remember, by the way, that Marlian Flood is even stronger than it was before. Your torch damage increases per age. So, if wooden walls weren't going to work for you before, they're sure as hell not going to work now. Even got precision training on the way. I think in hindsight, looking back on this, Killjadi, the win condition he had in mind was an all-in, right? But he shied away from that. I think what really should have happened there is when he was scaling military and feudal, he should have just went for more docks, pumped his eco higher, right? Like it's temporary, you haven't got infinite food there, but it's an extra 4,000 food. That might have given him what he needed to get over the hump. But this is looking a bit sad now. Freema leadership's on the way, and this is pretty much the kick to the teeth to end the game. Killjadi doesn't want any part of it, and I don't blame him. Those are indeed elite Musafadis. We've also got elite army tactics on the way in 1 minute and 20 seconds. If Killjadi can't tech up immediately, this is over. The reason is that elite army tactics is too big of a difference. He needs to be rushing into Imperial here. This doesn't feel like a rush. It's a gradual climb. A climb that is now going to put him at a big disadvantage, because while Elite Army Tactics is 55 seconds away, Killjadi's age up is 1 minute and 40 seconds away. On top of that, he then needs an extra 52 seconds to get his Elite Techs. That's a hill, man. No. That's not doing it fair. That ain't a hill. That's the type of mountain that Skyrim horses make look trivial. Killjadi always struck me as more of a wolf than a horse. Corner's been cut. Some villagers are going to be found down here. Trade could also end up getting blocked, so full army has to react to a fight they want no part of. Elite army tactics kicking in 10 seconds. This is perfect. Archers are going to tank the back line. Means the more Musafadi should survive this. Chases on in. In fact, this is where you want to switch. Drag the Musafadi. Yep, straight across. Send the archers on the left. E80 is in. Killjadi, these are just losses he can't afford right now. Military count is getting far too low for a guy who needs an army to upgrade here. Trade reduced down just to 11. Archers are going to get wiped out at the back here. So Dimmu, at least wave 1 is not going to kill off Killjadi, but wave 2, wave 3 has always been the concern, right? It's a never-ending Marlian Flood. He still has 30 more Musafadi on the hunt. If it seems like I'm being defeatist about Killjadi's position, it's because this is a really, really hard matchup because of the way that it's been played. And getting out of the hole isn't make 1 move right, make 2 moves right, make 3 moves right. It's make 6 moves right in a row. That's how brutal this flood point is. Fertile Crescent is coming in. Farm count is not late game yet for Killjoy. He's at 17 farms. On top of that, he needs to find the gold to get all his tech ups with only 13 traders and a still flimsy defense on that trade route. Jeez, Freemer is something else, guys. The movement speed on these units. Interesting that Dumu slowed down. I guess he's just bulking up to max and then going, right? I think this is one of the games where if Dumu could see the state of Killjoy's economy, he'd probably just go. Because now was the perfect time. Like, I'm a little bit surprised that Dumu done this. He has a really strong army, and his opponent doesn't have his tech ups yet. This is when you punish, right? The logic is when you see a tech up, you react to it. And Dumu taking up first put him a mile ahead. So, yeah, a little bit shocked he didn't actually go in for a bit more of a bloodbath. Wait, Killjoy got a raid? I must have missed that. Sorry, I was a bit tunnel visioned. Although that is the funniest way to spell okay Killjoy I've ever seen. So that must be why Dumu reset then. Yeah, because he's behind by 5 villages now. Interesting. Could Killjoy now upset? Archer count isn't insane. Crossbows are only now being upgraded. His front line is weak. I think the biggest problem I now see for Killjoy is it's a lot of melee and he doesn't have much. He doesn't have any elites either. And that is an insane amount of sofas. Hunt is on. Armies to clash. 17 spearmen here. Sofas are ridiculously tanky at this stage though, and the Musavadi is so quick to chase. Oh, this is like the World War Z scene with the wall in Israel, isn't it? It kind of has that feeling like you're just being flooded by a never-ending horde. And there is no easy escape from this. He needs to find a way of fighting this. Killjoy, cannon emplacements is going to be the call. That trade's still so vulnerable, though. 24 of his workers are traders. Maybe I should say were traders, because that is a quick breakthrough. Killjoy, he's going to have to fight this. Golem upgrade is still a decent way away, right? 30 seconds out, so if Dumu triggers the fight now... Instead, he heads to the back corner. He's actually giving ways for Killjoy to fight this. Outpost is being upgraded, but it's not fortification first, which means it could easily be blitzed. Trades are about to be cut off. Marketplaces are going down. Archers are holding back the main army. Kind of interesting that Dumu doesn't go for the direct engagement, but now he has to. He's pinned in the corner. Clash comes in. Golem upgrade isn't there yet, but there's no Golems left. Only 4 in the battle right now. Only 8 in grand total. And that is not going to be enough to hold back the swarm. Sofas are just bodying these spears. They don't even give a damn. The cannon emplacement completely ignored, and Killjoy's entire army is going to get shredded. Crazy to think how more feasible this type of comeback could have been with some stone walls, but Killjoy, not once did he look towards stone wall defense here. Not once did he feel safe against the Malian horde. No camel, no win. Dude, his bigger problem is literally no real wolves. I don't know why Killjoy was so fervently committed to this idea of no stone walls, because I think there was multiple opportunities to set them up. He just, weirdly enough, shied away from it every time, right? Yeah, a little bit of a funky one. All right, guys, let's see. Have we got any live players? You know me, I like live players. Let's have a quick ganders. I am weighing up doing that Voldemar Mia Micah show match, actually. Is that actually Louis MT? I don't think so. I think someone's pretending. Yeah, rank 8,288. I love the fact that people are pretending to be Louis MT. Kids on the rise, man. Kids on the rise. I'm really tempted towards that that show match between Voldemar and Mayor Micah. Let me check. Let me check if he's still on his profile. Really want more show matches going on. I'd love to have more midweek tournament gameplay. It can be a bit of a challenge to kick off, though. Oh, one sec. Sorry, I had a Discord call that's adding Discord group of that's adding crap tons of people to it. It's like, huh? It's like, oh, we're in business. All right, so it looks like we can watch the Voldemar versus Mayor Micah show match if you guys want. Were there any other show matches, do you guys know? Because I feel like there's loads of show matches that occasionally occur. It's just like not seen anywhere. It's not written anywhere or notified anywhere. Let me check, because I'm going to check the Age of Empires 4's Wikipedia. Because I'm wondering if there's been some small tournaments going on that I just haven't seen. Which does sometimes happen. Whoopsie. Just give me a sec while I check this. In fact, here, I'll let you guys see as well. So let's have a look. Can it be called a show match if it's hidden? Hid match. Nailed it. So, we've got around here, aren't we? Interesting time to do the top team gamer qualifiers. The CIS Cup 13, the strongest. Wow, very, very articulated name for the tournament. I didn't even know about this, man. Is this all tournaments? Like, this is what I mean. This is not fully indicative because I'm pretty sure there was some smaller things in between. I'm not imagining that, right? I feel like there was something the other week. Liga Brasileira. Do we have any knowns? You got GKS Legolas. Oh, I guess not. I mean, like I said though, the show matches don't get listed here, which is the weird part. Alright, I'll tell you what, guys. We might do the show match in a little bit. For now, let's do maybe Avali versus Sassy. Or, wait, did Gully have... Was it a Dimmu game I saw before? What show matches you mean? There's been like a few, right? So there's like Mayor Micah versus Voldemar, Mayor Micah versus Myriad. I don't know if there's any other ones that have been going on at the moment. It seems someone keeps funding them. They just don't really market them well. Wait, Faye, did you have any good matches recently? Oh, you had a bunch against GUA. It's the NA mud pit, you know? Ah, it's Clear Man, is it? Okay. Wait, they didn't have a prize. Like, wait, they don't have a prize pool? Wait, what? Dude, why? Wait, hold on. Hold on. I can get players to play without a prize pool, and no one told me this? Why is it when I ask, they want money? that I don't have. Yo, Balton, you want to play a show match against Faye? Right now? Practice for Rebel Roller? $500 teach. Piece of shit. Yeah, why do they assume I'm rich? It's not even like I wear nice shirts and blazers every day now. I'm wearing a t-shirt, man. Protein money, dude. That protein money don't pay that well. Jesus. It's a nice shirt. Thanks, Faye. Thanks. And even the jacket's gifted. I didn't buy that. It's gifted. I can't afford that. I mean, I wish I could. It's a nice jacket. How much? Okay, actually, I'm curious, guys. How much do you reckon this jacket would cost? Because I'm wondering if people think that this, like, is expensive or reasonable. This one. The God of War one. The reversible God of War one. By the way, am I the only one who gets Avengers vibes when I look at that from Endgame? That definitely, like, is not Avengers vibes. But that, I think it was... How much do you reckon it was, chat? Go on, get your guesses in. Before I reveal it. I think it was... maybe 120, 130 pounds. What's that? Sorry, I just have to respond to someone quickly. Sorry, I had to respond to that. Work, work, work. Slap a Gucci. Dude, like, I mean, you know what? Gucci's starting to get involved in gaming, right? I wouldn't mind being Gucci'd up. So, what did we say we're going to do? I mean, Baltoon's not going to play the show match against Faye because he's scared, so that's fine. I don't blame him. Like, anyone who's willing to build that many horse archers against mass horseman men-at-arm spam should be feared. So, you said the Geo one's a Pepega because you're just trying to get back down to 1500 elo. What? Why? Come on, Faye. You got to go and beat Marine Lord in a castle in Spain. He won't be ready for your strategies. When we do a losing interview, and be like, it's Mr. Monkey. I don't know why she just busy or such as. But I'm still the chimp. And then you just like lift the trophy. Faster queues are where it's at. What, you mean you don't want to just queue into a person who's like, you know, half your elo after 6 minutes? Alright, let's do Sassy versus Avali then. Give me a sec, I'll load that one up now. Was it 4 lakes as well? No. Oh god, I can't believe I'm doing this. But I said I was going to do it. We're clicking on high view. Sorry, I had to hold the vomit back. It's no secret my distaste for high view. I hate high view so much. If they just took the community map we created, it would be good, right? Like, it's not even that complicated. We literally done all the hard work for them. Okay, Value will happily write off permission. We just can't have nice things. We're stuck with this. Sorry, Havley, I didn't mean you. We're stuck with Highview again. Chinese versus HRE. But don't worry, folks. I've been assured that this is not a camp fiesta. This is a bloodbath fiesta. I think that makes sense. But let's kick it off. Age of Empires 4 action is back, and it is going to be Chinese in the hands of Avali and Sassy on the HRE. Now, in the olden days, this would have been a very boomy matchup, right? HRE would rush Imp, Chinese would rush Villager Spam ad infinitum, and you'd basically be waiting 40 minutes, especially on a map like Highview. Nowadays, it's a bit different, actually. Weirdly enough, HRE do a really good job of playing Feudal Age, and the Chinese have started to discover some pretty spicy builds that don't involve just spamming this building ad infinitum, right? Instead, we've seen some really creative builds around even Pro Scouts recently. We've seen fast castle builds that looked very impactful into Relic Pull. I wouldn't be surprised if that's Avali's goal here, is rush castle, pick up relics, and then you take the scalability away from the HRE. Sassy should be able to complicate that, though, if he chooses to invest in this age. And the reason is that, well, not this age, Feudal Age. The reason is that in Feudal Age, Archon Chapel puts you a mile ahead of the Chinese. The Chinese might be able to get taxation, they might be able to get supervision for 20% more resources. But in the early game, in the first 10 to 15 minutes, HRE can basically buff every single member of their economy by 40%. In fact, with this type of spawn, that's very feasible, right? Ooh, okay, no, it gets better and better, guys. So Sassy, sheep count is going to be good. He went double scout here. He's already for 30, made that 14 sheep. 15 sheep. Any high bidders? But it gets crazier than that. Because this deer can easily be shoved in range of an Archon. If he drops an Archon here on the tree line in gold, he can bring the deer in and have ridiculous amounts of resources 40% buffed. The other interesting thing is Sassy, I think we might be looking at a Burgrave build. The whole logic is when you go double scout, you have the option of doing Burgrave. You don't inherently have to do it, but it gives you enough sheep to put it on the table. It's also pretty cool against the Chinese to do this because we mentioned that fast castle build for China. That requires a lot of food, and 8 sheep really isn't going to be up to scratch for that. And did he? Yep. Yo. Wait, Sass, calm down. He's so excited about all the food. He's like, I don't need these sheep anymore. So Deer Shaft commences. I mean, he could go for a double Deer Shaft, right? If there's nothing else to do. Imperial Academy in the meantime is on the way. Ooh, Avali. He's going for Barbican. He's initiating Song. When you see one villager in Imperial Academy, it's usually indicative of Song coming. It could be that this is optimal fast castle, but like, why would you not want an extra Imperial official quicker, right? I feel like having 3 or 4 build this up is worth it to get that IO out for gold supervision faster. So yeah, this strikes me as a Barbican build, which I'm not a great fan of when I see what Sassy's doing. Right, Archon buffing like this, I mean, this is looking more and more like a Burgrave. Wait, Sassy, is that in range? What? I guess he can drop the mill here, and it's technically in range, but that doesn't look ideal. All right, we'll see. I think he's on the edge. Like, if he builds a mining cap, sorry, a mill here, it's okay, but otherwise it's kind of bad. Yeah, he has to build a mill here, so that's walk time. I mean, he's at least gonna have wheelbarrow, but I'm a bit confused. What? Was he just getting griefed by his villagers, maybe? Because the deer would react to the villagers as well, right? So maybe he was pushing them in and they just kept running back? I'm so confused by this deer shove. And yeah, we were right. It is indeed a Barbican coming. And it looks like it's still fast castle, though. Wait, what? Guys, this is not enough food for fast castle spam. Avali's income is going to plummet eventually. Like, look at it. He's only got 6 sheep left over. And the berries afterwards, right? The deer's front-facing, and the other one's really far off in the flank. I think you just Burgrave here. This feels like the easiest Burgrave win ever, right? With 14 sheep already still at this stage in the game, and him having a third of what he needs for castle, he could easily reach 30 on the men-at-arms count. funky game. I'm going to start speeding up a bit. Because this is now just going to be Castle on one side and 2TC on the other. But this is what I don't like about Avali's build, right? I mentioned the Song Dynasty. I don't think this works anymore against HRE. I mean, in theory, if you get the time on the TC right, you can actually wall off the relics. But I think it's just better to take the relics away. Right? That's something you can have a pretty big edge in with the way that you pump out Lancers and then you can pump out Monks. Instead, 2TC Song. I like how I really started to premise this game with the idea that, you know, it's innovative and they can be different. They don't have to play this if they always play. And then he done this exact style. Baltin, you can tech up ridiculously fast with Chinese, right? You disagree? Yeah, actually, that's... What do you mean ban that TC placement? He's playing China, right? Anywhere not near resources. Do you not think that you can walk a villager out, wall these relics, and then rush castle, and then just rush to monks? Because you pump them every 10 seconds, right? And Imperial Academy gives you way too much gold. I'm still convinced that it's way too good. And your tech timing is really comparative. I guess you could argue maybe Avali expected Burgrave here, and that makes it fair. Because if it's a Burgrave build, you're screwed, right? But, like, Avali, the way he approached this, remember, he began the game by building Imperial Academy with one villager, which is already indicative of Song Dynasty. So, to me, I feel like he was always going to do this, regardless of whether it's Burgrave or Regnants. At least the way that he telegraphed the opening, it looks like this was always the plan. And arms on the way, though. Guys, we might have a pretty quick game. Not gonna lie, Avali doesn't have exactly what I call a strong defense here. Wait, no, guys, we figured it out. Just gather all the stone, get 1,000,000 hand cannon slits, and then we play tower defense games. Wait, Baltoon Chad has gone quiet. Is that good or bad? Have I placated him with my explanation, or is he still disgusted? More outposts coming up. It looks like it is the tower defense strat. So Blacksmith upgrades aren't as fundamental here for Sassy. He has got Undermesh on the way, but the thing you have to realize when you're diving China, the hand cannon slits attack slower than archer shots because they attack harder, right? But that's actually, that means that Blacksmith upgrades are less valuable against them because you're offsetting less percentile damage, right? Like this TC's damage of 6 with the attack speed of... Wait, why is it 3.88? What? Let's use this TC as an example. There. So the 1.88 instead of the 3.12, right? So like, as a percentage decrease of DPS, Undermesh is more effective against standard TCs than the hand cannon slits. Yeah, I was about to say, I'm pretty sure it's 1.88. Song to Fast Castle is terrible? Yeah, but what about Imperial Academy into Fast Castle? Not Song. Because I agree, like the Fast Castle builds I've seen work for the Chinese do not involve going Song. You come back for it afterwards. Why would you do that? Supervise Lancers, get relics, right? You don't think the supervision on Lancers is worth it? Clock Tower now on the way. I mean, it's forgotten anyway, right? It's not a Regnitz, it's a Burgrave anyway. So we're on a different path in the first place anyway. This is tough though. Avali, I mean, he does get the tech up, but now what do you build? Right, you have to go crossbows. It's the only option you have here. Everything else dies. I'll give him credit though, right? Avali's only lost 4 villages so far. However, I don't want to think about how much he's idled up in the process. Okay, Baltin. I'll trust your words on this. He who can play China for 40 minutes without blacksmith upgrades should not be trifled with. Sassy, is he going for relics? Yeah, that's why he didn't hard commit full, right? He dropped a monastery and started grabbing relics. And we've got a switch as well. Stable's on the way. Can Avali actually dig himself out of this hole? His eco lead is shrinking, right? Like, you know how I was praising him about a minute and a half ago for 4 worker losses only? It's 14 now. Oh, God. And it might be more. Dive towards the Barbican location now as well. Yep. In hindsight, I think Avali will agree textiles probably would have been a good idea in this game. Right? Like 15, maybe that's 16 villages. If you don't want to build any military before Castle Defend, textiles probably just pays for itself. Kind of wild. All of a sudden, Avali not even close to being ahead, right? Like a 12 eco lead against a 40% eco buff, which is still buffing 14 of the workers. Actually, it's more than that, 16 workers. Not a great sign here for Avali. Especially when you consider that Sassy also has those additional prelates that you can use to buff the deer. Why go for deer when you can go for a boar? So how do you think China plays this then, Baltoon? If not for the fast castle, do you think they all in feudal? Because I don't know how you're meant to all in feudal HRE quick enough. Just 2TC. And long feudal. Because you said Song and Wall Relics and Go Castle could work. You still want Song and 2TC? Delay 2 to 3 relics. Yeah. I think, yeah, I could agree with that working against a knight build. I don't think that works against men-at-arms, though, right? Because now I'm trying to figure out, like, what was Avali's solution to Burgrave? It's tough as well, because on a map like this, it's very hard on a map like Highview to scout both scouts. So by the time he maybe realizes it's 2 scouts, it could be too late. But I feel like Burgrave, none of these builds we've suggested work, right? Like, Burgrave spam should overwhelm you here as China. That's intriguing. I guess you could try to wall yourself in, but I always find against Burgrave, walling feels less impactful because all you're doing is it's kind of like the idea of a dam, right? You're blocking water, but you're building up water behind. So if it ever gets through, it's a flood. Ah, you think, yeah, spam towers and Chug as well, really. I mean, the tower element did help him somewhat. I wonder if he could have went a bit harder on the towers. Yeah, the food was kind of atrocious, we mentioned. I don't know, I kind of want to, like, I think I praise Sassy more for this, though. The double scout opener read was great. We won't talk about the deer shove. I haven't got enough alcohol to talk about the deer shove. But the rest was on point. The Horseman switch is really intuitive as well. Not many people would switch Horseman this early because you just want to utilize Burgrave fully, right? Like, typically people try to go up to 30 men-at-arms before making a proper switch. But Horseman this early has a lot of value. And you're about to see it on the flanks. Ooh, Avali with the keep drop, though. Okay, so this should keep him in the area, right? This protects the deer, the boar, and enough stone to get another keep. However, there are too many villagers here. Few of them are going to be chipped down. A lot of horsemen are dying for this, though. Honestly, I'm not convinced that was worth it for Sassy. That was a lot of horsemen lost. Not many villagers killed. It's been, what, 3 minutes since I highlighted that he lost, was it 16 villagers? Only 4 more dead now for Avali. So Eco lead is building. He's actually stabilizing. I'm wondering if this is a stage where Sassy just goes for Imp. Because I'm not sure there's much more damage to be done here now, right? Like, the crossbow count is escalating, and your opponent has already shown a keep. Sassy instead is doubling down, though. Trebuchet's now on the way. It's kind of dangerous, right? Up against Clock Tower. And Trebs aren't exactly the quickest sieger. He's got to get through a Barbican. Theoretically, there could be another keep drop on the way. Like, Avali does have the stone back here to get his hands on that. I'm wondering if this is going to be slightly too slow for Sassy. Maybe some Rams. Rams can work all right, but once again, like, the Sprions can kind of pick at them. They're not fast to do so, but they will whittle them down. It's tough because I find sometimes revealing Trebs one by one is counterintuitive because it gives time to react. It's almost like you want to have 3 or 4 Trebs before you reveal you're doing it. Wow, check this. Avali! The read, the timing on that. He knew it was a Sprinkle coming. He knew it was a siege coming, rather, so Sprinkle's on the way. Avali now prepping the Spearman as his little pseudo front line here. So what, probably 2 Springles into Nesta Bees is the play. That gives him great control over these choke points. Siege begins though, Barbican being hit up. Eco lead is now extended up to 25 for Avali. Slightly below 25 for Avali. Wait, Avali, what? Why? What? Wait. Why? So many whys. So the crossbows are on a coffee break. The corner is not walled in. The tree line is not protected. The eco lead has disappeared again. I just can't, man. There was so much breathing room there as well. I thought we'd see a full encompassing, full wall. Instead, it's a full massacre. Avali is about to reach par with the HRE, despite the fact that he's 2 TC Song Dynasty. Oh my god. What a strike. Not only that, he now has dominated the map by taking 3 Sacred Sites. Trebuchet count is up to 2. He's got a forward line relic here, which is going to give him the full vision to see into the enemy base and see everything he needs to. Dude, this game is over. Avali has no food income. And no way of stabilizing this. I mean, he's essentially out of food, right? He's got Pumbaa in the corner, and that is literally it. He's not going to get his hands on the D. Instead, Sassy's going to be taking that away. Damn, what a domination here. No Blacksmith either. No. Battletune has proven you can play 40 minutes of China without Blacksmith upgrades, okay? The Blacksmith upgrades are not the problem. Avali, another keep now on the way to try and stabilize behind this, but the problem now is the Treb count is so high that these keeps are going to start crumbling fast, right? So it's not a reliable defense. And Avali, I think what he realizes is after what happened last time, he can't just pump siege. He needs to get a bioforce together that can protect. Otherwise, the siege just dies. Damn. Stonewall defense. Wait, no. Come on. Reddit needs to teach you, Sassy. Build the wooden walls as well. Come on, make the little emplacement. Have you guys seen that? It's a good post. I'm going to speed us up a bit because this is a slow crawl to death. Stone walls as well. I love the fact that he built a stable in the front line, not a siege workshop. Right? SCVs, he's trying to contest now. Second one is being built up. The problem here is that you feel like you're baiting the men-at-arms. You're not. It's the other way around. Right? If the men-at-arms dive out here, knobs just die. I'm just going to hit the speed up now. I don't realistically see Avali getting a defense together. Raid on the gold. No Barb can defend there anymore. 4 TCs down. And crossbows getting counted out. Nesta Bees is going to be targeted. Will be kept alive. But now the men-at-arms are broken in. And I don't think the knobs are going to be able to be protected here. There's just not enough crossbowmen to keep the men-at-arms at bay. Both siege weapons down. Crossbows may be able to wipe out wave number 1. But the real issue is creeping in here. It's going to be death by landmarks at this rate. 2 down, 2 to go. And the wall crawl continues. And sometimes we forget how powerful this is. It's intriguing. I feel like we see this particular strategy most often on Hy-Vee, right? I think I've seen it on Hy-Vee more than any other map. I wonder why. I guess it's like in Stealth Forest it allows you to creep up and do it more willingly. No, I'm just going to end the Suffering Family. Let's speed this up. It's getting raided everywhere. GG gets cool. There you go. So, Burgrave spam once again proving to be the absolute nightmare for China. Sass Siege and Avali keeps got their signature moves. Jesus. I do wonder about that Song interwalling Relic strat though, Baltin. Have you actually tried that one in particular? I'm wondering if that might be the way. Because like, I feel like 2TC is kind of too predictable, right? But like I said, maybe it's the spawn that just screwed him. Maybe he could have won that with a better spawn. Is Corvi boy in a game? Voldy versus Corvinus? Poogers? Someone can be predictable and work, why not? I always like to have the variance logic there, right? I think variance is good. Because like the caveat is when your strategy is predictable, your opponent can prep without even looking, right? It's why like I think that's why Ibids get counted, right? Like it's why not counted, it's why they are approachable now as a Civ to contest. Because people go into the game inherently trying to counter Fast Castle. It's why Ibids need that build nerfed, but then need other builds buffed. Because they just got other builds buffed, and they had the options. Just the threat of the options screws over game plan, right? Meta is meta for a reason. Yeah, but meta is set by those like who win. Is always my counter argument there, right? I think there's other unexplored builds that can pay off. I think that's like something I always have to remind people. Like the meta, like how you define a meta is who is winning, right? Kind of obvious. But the thing about RTSs is there are so many branching strategies that theoretically, like, you know, we could still not have discovered, for example, the best way to play China, or the best way to play Zhone, or the best way to play Almonds, right? That's why I try to keep an eye on people in like the rank 200, 300 range. Like, I've been saying, I think Clown Carring is going to be broken. I actually need to talk to Marine Lord about that, because I don't know why he hasn't tried Clown Carring in particular. Because I genuinely feel like Clown Carring is not even remotely balanced. It's so cheesy and so effective, right, in the right situation. All right. Let's check in on the lads, though. Looks like we've got some custom games between Corvinus and the kid, Voldemar himself. On Zhone, on Hill and Dale? Rogan? What is the plan here? Now, I know what the plan is with the Ottomans on the other side, by the way. This Civ can actually trade quite effectively on this map. This Civ can play 2TC effectively. Is Voldemar going to try to play... He's doing a trade build! Oh my god. Okay, this is brilliant already. And he's going to be ahead as well, because look at this. Corvinus did go military school opener to shove the deer in. Oh, this is going to be sick. Yeah, trade versus trade, but also I think TC Boom versus TC Boom, right? Like, think about it. You're going to build, like, 3 TCs as Zhone? That's great. Just walk around with Zhone building her up quicker. What is that cock placement? He likes to just slap it right in the middle, you know? Then again, are you going to... What? Are you going to flame... Faye, you're going to flame Corvinus to this one as well? What's this trade network placement? It's fine, because you're never going to get a good enough placement here to get maximum distance on the trade. Like, he could have placed it back here, which would have been better for trading to the enemy side. But other than that, this is fine. Because if you stick this in the corner, I'm not even going to put that in the acronym term. If you move the Chamber of Commerce to the corner, that means Zhone has to walk all the way there. That's super inefficient because she won't be gathering extra XP, right? It's just a waste. So that's why he built it so close to home. Like, guys, chill. Legit, you have to do it this way, Zhone. The amount of XP you miss out on from just walking over is too much. So tech ups end up being about mirrored here, but notice it was much later for Corvinus because he has to use 6 and he need to go military school first. But this is pretty atypical right now. A lot of Almond players have shifted away from Madrissa. What players seem to realize is Madrissa's kind of overrated ever since the Berry Point, Sheep Point rather, came back into the meta. The Anatolian Hills changed the way that you can play the Ottomans in conjunction with the buff to the trade network, where they slightly decreased the amount of gold you get per trader, but inflated the amount of traders you can have inside. No, Faye. No corner cock. Not unless Voldemar's free drinks in. Anyway, Stables drop coming in, so we are going to be opening with the Knights. There's a Spinman reaction, right? But it's Dark Age Spinman. He's not even building a Rax. This is 2 TC. A second TC will probably be dropped in the gold, and then a fast castle for the Ottos. Love the choice by Voldemar. We've seen this before, right? Like, remember when the Ottomans were the kryptonite for Zhone at release? Because Zhone players kept picking melee Zhone and couldn't do anything. This was the solution. Same against HRE, right? When they tower up, go Archer form, because you have an ability to reach in and snipe villages quite freely. Also, it's even more perky here because you've got spears coming from the enemy side, right? So now you have a way to kill those spears quite quickly, and then the Knights can dive on in. What do you guys reckon? Ottomans or Zhone, by the way? One's if you think Ottos win this, two's if you think Zhone does. I actually think Zhone's decent here. Not over the top powerful. I think the problem is if this reaches deep into Castle Age, you are up against Janissaries, and Janissaries melt you, right? But if you can apply enough pressure early and inflate trade behind this, you can shut this game down before it truly reaches Castle. Especially considering what Corvinus is doing. Like, I think against Zhone, it needs to be fast Castle. You can't 2 TC, right? But because it's 2 TC, it's going to drag out the age long enough that in theory, Voldemar could break this base. And traders are now going the full length, right? Or what? Sorry, they're about to. Villager. Wait, what? Wait. Voldemar. Wait, Voldemar. He was 1 strike away from the strat being ruined. I can't believe that. I mean, at that point, right, you finish the marketplace first just to be safe, right? I can't believe that. Corvinus. Wait, what? Did he change his mind? Or was he originally going 2 TC? Corvinus, he gathered additional stone, right? So I'm tempted to say that he was contemplating 2 TC originally, and then changed his mind when the Knights came in, which is a smart choice. We mentioned that if he goes 2 TC here, he GG's. Now that he's going fast castle, I think this is quite Ottoman favored. Well, Ottomans already have traders. Like, no, you're never going to trade against Zhone or French. It's the dumbest thing you'll do on a map like this, right? Because he hasn't built a wall, so Knights will just kill you, right? Like, this is your exact nightmare. You do not want to be building traders. Because not only the Knights, but it's doubly bad against Zhone because Zhone will get XP. And she will get a lot of XP, right? Remember, they give 12 XP each. Worst possible thing you can do here is actively trade. So Corvinus is doing the right thing. He's just hunkering down. Castle is about to be triggered. And Voldemar did not get his wish come true. He didn't actually get the scalability he needed here. I am not going to be casting for the finals weekend of Master of Realms. I will be hosting both days. Because I think I'm the only person we really have in the scene that can do hosting. So, I fill the role. I actually love that Corvinus is moving out the spears to be a little bit annoying here. I mean, as you move up in age, you don't really need them, right? Interesting detail here. Looks like we got Lancer spam on the horizon for Corvinus. Feels like the harder way to try and beat this back, but I guess he needs mobility, right? Like, theoretically, you should be going Janissaries, but even though this is categorized as a closed map, the openness of the mid-map doesn't hold true to that. So going for Jannies means that, you will be outmaneuvered. Your opponent will go into your base while you're midway across the map. A bit of chip damage going in here. Both players have started to lose a few units. Nothing too permanent in terms of pain. But now Voldemort has a tough one, right? Like, are you meant to just fast castle now yourself? Because I don't think there's any damage to be done here, right? Like, in theory, your knights can fight up against Lancers, fine, but I just don't see the grand value of it. Voldemort should be fine with playing this game later, because he made the right choice. He went range form. By going range form, you have scalability to contest that late game. We won't talk about Grain Bombards. If we get there, you're already screwed. But, for example, with Mangoes, Springles, these type of things, Zhone at level 3 and beyond is super effective at taking those out. Oh, I said about going castle, but I am seeing Voldy adding in additional knights here. Maybe until the walls are up, he keeps doing this and then stops. Trade count is now at 8. He's actively adding in more traders. Oh wait, let's catch up a bit. We're not 100% live, right? There's going to be a stalemate here because Corvinus can't come out until he's got ample knights. Otherwise, French knights will beat you an age behind. Because Divine Restoration and also the fact that they get bonus damage upon charge, right? It's actually a really big deal in these engagements. So Corvinus being patient is the correct call here. Has now got the meta. He's got enough spears to be spooky here. Voldemort needs to be careful. Zhone, whoa! Hangs around a bit too long there. Yeah, there's a risk that Zhone goes down. Corv is a little bit reluctant. Looks like the injured knights. Voldemort sees an opportunity. But now it is going to cost him. 2 more strikes to take down Zhone, and no doubt in my mind, she's dead. But Voldemort did buy time, right? The walls are now up, and the tech up should be on the way. He does, however, need archers ASAP. In fact, it's kind of awkward that Voldy didn't get archers a bit sooner, right? Because now the trade's in trouble. He has no way of killing the torches here. Uh-oh. Guys, he has a lot of trade. He has 12 traders. And has no way of really defending them right now. With more knights coming, Zhone will not be your savior here. She'll be a liability. This is a problem. Corvinus with the breakthrough. Has still got that meta drumming as well. The hunt is on. Voldemort. He can't afford to spend too much if he wants to reach that tech up point. But he might be forced to. Start to snipe down the spearman. Knight's not able to fight though. And once again, Zhone's about to be exposed. She runs in. What? Zhone down and Voldy at risk of being out here. Knight count is getting too high, guys. I think this is over. I mean, Corvinus, this should just be a non-stop sliver of Castle's knights now into the enemy base. Voldemort, one hand in the cookie jar, one hand in the toilet. Not sure which one is going to stick in his mouth next here because he's halfway towards what he needs for a tech up, and that means he hasn't been investing actively. He needs the investment, though. He's got no standing army. And the knights are now starting to cut off. So Trader's about to flump down. Mango is now in the way as well. Dive underneath the TC might reset this favorably for Voldemort, but it's going to come at a cost. He won't be able to trade. No, it's not Dunzo, it's Spearman. Chill. Oh, wait, oh, it's not. That was a good pun. Doesn't get a badumps, it gets an applause. Ooh, what a strong position now for Corv. And I love this. He's walling off the east side trade just in case Voldemort tries the backup option. Why instead of attacking the trade? Good question. Because if you have to send troops here, you're less strong here. This is much more efficient, and then you keep all your attention on blocking trade and diving the enemy base. God, I'm looking at the map for Voldemort and I'm trying not to vomit. This is horrible to watch. Wait, he has no food income. What's going on? I mean, he's walling up to get this food next, right? But, like, look at what's happening here. This is not pretty. Mass been built, but that's already been done on Corvinus' side as well. It's problematic because this little cool trick for you people. Why does this work against this? Because if you have Spearmen to fight the Spearmen, when Spearmen are in melee, they can't brace. Right? When they're actively animated in melee, they will not brace. So you send your Spears in first, and then you send the Knights afterwards. You can even just get a charge or run by them without getting pinched. So it's a pretty smart choice. Janissary is now getting queued up as well. Going to be a knock at the door. Corvinus will not leave with anything less than the dub. Voldemort has started to rebuild the army, but that Mangonel is an impeding threat. And without level 3 shown, he has no way of easily sniping it here. He needs XP ASAP. Mango shots coming in. Spearman count is shrinking. Only 6 in total. Now the Knights dive in for Joan. Voldemort, please. Garrison in the TC. Do something. Oh, no. Immediate buyback. I feel like level 3 is too far away still, right? He does Garrison. Okay, well played. That was smart. That's what Voldemort needs to be doing because Joan can't afford to go down again. His one hope of recovering this is level 3 into a Mango snipe. My worry, though, is even if you now get level 3, you have no standing army and no leg to stand on in this game. Oh, God, that was horrible. Well, that was not a pretty game. One sec. No corner, a cock, no win. Jesus Christ. Faye, please. I'm just trying to figure out when my bud wants to go to bouldering. He's talking about going in like 2 hours-ish, which is a lot earlier than I was anticipating. So we'll see what he says. Oh, wait. Why am I looking at me? Let's go back here. By Zinc. Where did Vordy go wrong in that game? I think he overinvested into Knights. When you saw that the game was trending towards Castle, you needed to halt all Knight production and fall back. You can maybe stay with Joan and try to poke, but like the moment the tech up completes, you need to be out of there. Because you're just feeding her, right? It looked like he was trying to fake aggro to build walls up for trade, but he just hung around way too long. I wondered if he was going to try 2TC, but the problem is if you do 2TC, Ottomans do 2TC and they benefit more from it. So I'm kind of fine that he didn't do that. I just think he needed to be back sooner with the army behind the walls, and then he needed an archer transition quicker, right? Like the moment you see more spears being produced, you need archer transition. Yeah, tough game for sure, though. Sec. Jesus Christ, you guys, it's such degens. I mean, I know I'm the one to blame for it as well, but you're all such degens. Oh dear. Iber's Dragon. Let's crack it. How many minutes in are we? I feel like we're trending behind by a bit, aren't we? Let me check. Quite a bit. You guys want to watch more of these two, or do you want to like check out someone on the ladder? Is it weird that I'm kind of weighing up playing the game? Probably. Probably a bad idea. I haven't even like done anything RTS related gameplay wise for a while. Let's hop into the Bloodbath. Voldemort on the Ironbeards, Corvinus on Order of the Dragon. One and all, welcome back to Age of Empires 4 action. We are on Coastal Cliffs. The Grand Magus Avali himself designed this beauty. And we plopped 2 absolute gems on it. Corvinus on Order of the Dragon. I mean, I'm not surprised to have him on this. We're going to hit the 2 times speed so we can catch up to live, by the way. But, you know, OOTD, this is a civ that he recently done 50 games on to try and find the way. This has been a challenge that Corvinus has been going through, by the way. 50 games of each civ to try and figure out what they can do. Voldemort on the other side, though, has gone for something quite meta and quite easy peasy, cut and dry. Ironbeards right now are a cutthroat civ that pretty much everyone, I think, is tired of. I would wager even the absolute top players that are dunking with them are also now in a position where they're wondering, is it time for something different to happen with the civ? Because they do the same thing over and over again. Wait, no, they don't. What the f... Hold up. Hold the front door on this one. Ring-a-ding-ding, can I come in? We've got Growthwing coming. What? A different approach. So, Voldemort, Growthwing suggests he's going to be more feudal present. That's intriguing. And I think it makes sense, right? Like, you can't rely on the Arrow Slit's tower defense here because the stone's too far off. And you're playing against Order of the Dragon that have this inherent desire to play feudal aggressive because it's usually where their units function best. So that's pretty smart by Voldemort. That adjustment means he's going to have the extra economy to contest against what might have ended up being Archon. And even if it's not, at least at this point in the game, is going to be OOTD with a slight eco lead if you didn't have the eco wing. And he puts it immediately to work. Desert Raider, Horseman on the way. Interesting choice here, actually. You might be wondering, why would you do Desert Raider Horseman? I actually like it. It contests an enemy gilded Horseman really well. It gives you quick mobility to block this type of play. But then if your opponent also goes Men-at-Arms, Desert Raiders are decent against Men-at-Arms due to the high base armor. It allows them to contest more effectively. And then if your opponent goes for Gilded Archers, you already have the Horseman. So it's quite an intriguing combo in this matchup, actually. It does still feel really expensive to have to build Desert Raiders to try and contest Men-at-Arms because they do attack fast. But what was it? I think Gilded Men-at-Arms are, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, I think they're 13 damage. No, it's lower than that in Feudal Age, right? 10 is normal Men-at-Arms. Gilded Men-at-Arms, I think, are about 12 in Feudal Age. So you're offsetting almost 50% of their DPS. Push back here. Corvinus realizes he can't get the goodies. But check this. Okay, this is wild, though. These two are so funky to watch. We've got the Order of the Dragon player rushing Castle Age, and the Ironbeard player is playing all-in Feudal Age. Dude, are these guys like playing a bingo Age of Empires 4 game of off-meta strategies? Because this is about as off-meta as it gets for the two civs. Well, maybe not for OOTD, but in this particular matchup, it's very surprising to see this. For Ironbeards to be all-in on Feudal, it's most definitely surprising. Now that he sees the Hunker down there, this has to be fast castle for Voldy, right? But he's so far behind in that regard. And yeah, walls now coming in from Corvinus. So what, Burgrave or Regnitz? Probably Regnitz, right? It's dicey because there's a lot of enemies on the field, but yeah. It is the atypical greedy play coming out from the HRE's cousins. Baron Ram is coming in, though. I'm so, my brain is actually fragging out at the weirdness of this match. When was the last time anybody saw an IBID player build a ram in Feudal Age? It's unheard of, right? It's so weird. And look at Corvinus. He's actually snuck out, somehow unnoticed, to try and gather some stone for an emplacement. Dude, this guy's wild. It's actually working. Ooh, he got enough for the arrow slits. Did he get enough to follow up the fortify? Yes, he's got just enough for it. Order of the Dragon Burgrave really isn't that bad, actually. Considering this is a civ that struggles with scaling. Like, the production speed. I actually think the Burgrave build is really good, funnily enough, for Lanceneck spam. I'm just not sure you want Lanceneck to here against Mass Cav, because they can kind of kite you, right? Dive in, though. Villagers pulled to try and deal with this. Remember, you can't garrison Cav inside Rams, which is why he can't just clown call the Desert Raiders. Thank God. Ypres is going to come in, and fortification just in the nick of time here. One villager is going to be chipped down off the plot, though. This is not going to break it. Right, like, he's in Castle Age now. What is his plan? I'm confused as to what Corvinus is planning to build here. Because if you build a Lancer now, like, yeah, actually, if you build a Knight now, you can win. Because Voldemar lost all the Desert Raiders. So actually, a Gilded Knight is really good here. Alternatively, we could just go for the normie choice, which is typically Gilded Crossbowman. I actually think the two units that make Order of the Dragon look competent are Gilded Crossbowman and Gilded Lancenet. They are by far the two best units that Order of the Dragon have. And yeah, there you go. Crossbows on the way. Turns out 6 tower range crossbows kind of a little bit crazy. It's actually hurting me deeply that Voldemar hasn't sent a single unit across to the right side here. This is the freest relic you're going to see. What? You forgetting their best unit, Gilded Archers? No, best Castle Age Archer is Yuumi. Faye just vomited. Why are we feudal ramming an Order of the Dragon player when he's in castle? I feel like the ship has sailed, man. Villagers are gradually torching this down. He has got textiles. That's really smart by Corvinus. They're so stupidly tanky. His own wall is griefing him, though. And the Guild Crossbow's now here. Yeah, honestly, you can't die with these horsemen. They just die. A weird part is Corvinus could have saved that villager instead of running them to the TC, though. He runs them into the open to fertilize the fields. Villagers are going to continue to burn through this. And, wow, the body blocking. I can't believe that. The ram blocked the horseman from getting in. Okay, so let's look at the positives. Voldemar has killed 4 gilded villagers. That's actually a really big deal. Let's look at the negatives. 1 relic is already home. Voldemar is in a state where if he doesn't keep investing militarily, then Corvinus is going to get all the relics. So, double-edged sword here, right? And that, like, you know, you've cut your opponent, but you've actually cut your own sort of hand here as well. Credit to him, though. Voldemar is starting to piece it together. This has to be Advanced Wing. I don't think you can do anything else here. The Desert Raiders aren't going to be that useful. Master Smiths is kind of irrelevant here. Bizarre, Voldemar, I'm pretty sure like Denmark drugs aren't legal, so he's not going to do that. And Adabeg's, they're in the Adaboy move. It's advancement, right? You could go logistics, but I think you just can't wait that long. Yeah, there we go. Advancement's on the way. Now, we're memeing Voldemar for staying feudal, but in fairness, Corvinus' army has been underwhelming because of it, right? Corvinus is building into the Guild of Knights. I don't like that. The problem with Gilded Knights here is, remember, camels reduce base damage by 20%. And a lot of the value in Gilded Knights is high base damage and high health. So you're being struck even harder than other units, right? Like Horsemen, for example, at least their bonus damage is untouched by camels. Yeah, I'm not sure what Corv's plan was this. I think he wanted to raid with a knight, Because a Gilded Knight can 2-hit a villager, right? They're incredibly powerful for that. In fact, they strike so hard that they will 2-hit a villager even if they have textiles. Second relic on the way home from Korv. He's going to get blocked. But this feels like more of a distraction, right? Because he's got another one being grabbed here. But Voldemar switched on for it. Wallow is going to be a whiff. Will go down before it completes. So both relics blocked from being returned here. This is still something to this day that feels weird about Order of the Dragon, right? Is with these fast castle builds, with no ability to pump prelates prior to reaching the tech up, you end up in a very predictable phase, right? It's almost like you're trying to break into a bank, but before you do it, you yell out very loudly, "I'm breaking into a bank!" I really hope no one is listening to this on their phone out loud while they're in a bank right now. Sorry. What the f... Did you guys hear that? That was the most overly dramatic screaming about a wolf ever. For a second, I thought the wolf made that noise because it was dying. It was... Ah, 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 ah. It's almost like the villager was deeply emotionally struck at the fact it had to kill the dog. Good night. I mean... He's kind of paying for himself. Okay, Order of the Dragon is definitely a Civ designed for players that have a low attention span and a low APM. Because, point to me the other Civ that could have a knight stand still that long with spears stabbing him in the arse and not die. I'll wait. There is only one. Dude, the size of his army here. I feel like Korv is just kind of screwed, right? This is a depressing reminder that Order of the Dragon is a Civ, but it doesn't feel like one. So much out of time as well. 21 workers not working. 2/3 of his economy on a vacation. Paid for by Corvinus. Relics are going to do payday that Voldemar's looking for. Second one now being picked up and dragged back. And the third one seems very feasible here. Just look at the vision that Voldemar has in this game. There's not many places that Corvinus can go unseen. Cataphracts might have survived? No, a Cataphract would not have survived. Cataphracts have 330 health at this stage of the game, right? A Gilded Knight has 400. So yeah, Cata would have died. Also, Cataphracts, I believe, have 4 melee armor, not 5. Yeah, no. Not to mention a Cataphract wouldn't have killed the Horseman as quickly as this Gilded Knight did. A Cata would never survive that. Yeah, this is why, phase 1 point, this is why you see Order of the Dragon play Feudal so much. Especially with the mine work detail, it just doesn't make sense here. Low coming in. Corvinus, when all else fails, right, you go to your roots. Unfortunately, you're going to be growing roots here as compost as these bodies are hitting the floor. He does still have a few men-at-arms left alive. And admittedly, Voldemar's army is pathetic. Wait, is he actually trying this? Is he? No. Oh, just in time. You know that Order of the Dragon is having a bad day when an all-in Feudal Ibid player, minutes later, is trying to do that underneath your TC. Okay, so Corvinus has got a temporary stay of execution courtesy of the men-at-arms. But that is now going to force the crossbow reaction, right? Maverick's Bravery is kind of insane then as well. Actually, no, you know what? I'll give it to the Order of the Dragon. They are probably the single best counter to Mamluk's Bravery. Because remember, Mamluk's Bravery buffs you when you kill a unit. But Order of the Dragon units are doubly hard to kill, right? So they give less buffs over. So there you go, guys. We figured it out. Corvinus knew it was going to be Ibids. He giga-brained it. 40 minutes from now, he'll win. Alright, memes aside, if we're being totally real about this, Ibids late game kind of sucks. Bar the Ghoulems and hand cannoneers with Mamluk's Bravery, but as we mentioned, Mamluk's Bravery is less impactful here. Outside of Mamluk's Bravery, late game, Ibids don't really have anything to cook with. Let's speed this up a bit. We've got a bit of breathing room, because Voldemar's starting to scale now. Second TC on the way. He's going to hunker down, right? Wall's going up. Wait, he knows about this relic. He actually killed the guy picking this relic. But for some reason... Okay, he's on the way now. That's heavily delayed. I actually think Voldemar just hunkers down on the Sacred Sites, by the way. Just gather stone in the center, and then double keep drop, right? Because Corvinus won't be able to scale quick enough to come out. Military Academy also on the way in now for Voldy. Inspired Warriors is definitely a good call by Corvinus. Underrated tech. Genuinely, if you're playing Order of the Dragon, you're playing without this tech. I don't know why you're playing Order of the Dragon. It's one of the very few upsides over HRE is that they are more efficient at buffing and get more value out of the buff. I reckon Corvinus is just going to hunker for Imperial, right? He doesn't have an insane amount of gold, though, right? It's almost like he needs to move out for that northern corner soon. And whoa, whoa, whoa. Is that Zonhao coming through? It is indeed. So he's going to try to play into Landsknechter with barely any gold. A third TC from Voldemar. Voldemar just looked at this Civ. He's like, wait, these are basically Abbasids. I know this Civ. Wow. All right, guys. 10 minutes from an Ibid victory. Wow, I'm so negative about Order of the Dragon today. So we've got 2 TC versus 3. A 3-2 relic split. But the Sacred Sites as well means that Ibids are ahead, right? Golden Ages are also starting to kick in. This is intriguing. With the production speed, Voldemar can quickly ramp to 200 pop. Corvinus cannot. The other intriguing details once you reach tier 4. That siege cost reduction is huge. Hear me out, guys. No. Before anyone tries to say don't, KP, why would you build that? I want you guys to realize that this is a gilded siege tower. Never thought of it that way, did you? And now you know why it sucks. Although I guess that's confusing and polarizing, because isn't a great bombard a gilded bombard? That's true. You should always make towers. I mean, I'm going to convince people why Tower of the Sultans is what you should only build. Ready for this? Sit down. Come on. So, Tower of the Sultan is like outpost rushing. Only your outpost moves. Have I sold you? In fairness as well, mathematically, here's an interesting thought for you. An outpost costs 100 wood. Arrow slits cost 75. So 175 per. You get 4 arrow slits in a Tower of Sultan. So you would have to pay 700 resources to do that with an outpost. If you wait for Golden Age 4, then actually you're paying 800 resources for a mobile tower instead of paying 750 for static towers. Boom, we figured it out, guys. Now all we need is the devs to give the combined health of 4 outposts to a Tower of the Sultan. Alright. You know what? I actually think if they ever nerf Springolds, Tower of the Sultan might become legit. See, Baltoon's getting it, dude. What you do is you pack up the Tower of Sultan with villages inside, and you move them over to stone, and you gather. Right? Then you build a mining camp, drop off, and then you get them back in, and you move over to gold, and you gather. Right? And then you move in, and you steal the berries and the deer right from next to your opponent's base. And then you move them back, and you drop them off at mill, and yeah, okay, I'm going to stop. Imagine if Tower of the Sultan was a drop-off point, though. Right? Am I talking in broken terms now? Devastate with 20 villages and then drive in. Dude, this is why Faye comes here, for inspiration. Wow, look at these equal military PopCap armies that are not even remotely equal. Oh my god, the diving. He's just going straight after the Landsneck. There's only one left. There's none left. I'm pretty sure you die here, right? Gilded Archers are trying to carry this fight hard. The chain heal, though? Wait. Hold. 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 It's working. That looks so ugly, but once the front line was removed, the Gilded Archers tank it all, baby. +1/+1 armor. He has 6 ranged armor on that archer. Oh my god. And right now, Vonoman has to be kind of like checking himself, wondering what the hell just happened there. How did that fight end up so brutally bad for him? Looks so good at the beginning, right? Sniped out the Landsneck like it was nothing. But these Gilded Archers are pseudo-tanks. Weirdly enough, Spearman is his best tool to kill them. Oh, guys, no. We grew with confidence too much. The prelates are being targeted. Vonoman, I think he's figured out the counter here. Just kill the priests and kill it all. Oh, God. Dude, this is the depressing part about the dragons, right? For a second there, this looked like a row. But Vonoman was imping behind this. He was creeping up all along. Corvinus now, with an overinvestment, has to rebuild an army, which keeps him further away from his route to recovery. And guys, it's a very big journey to make here. You're seeing that correctly. 67 eco to 133. I just can't, man. This is the crazy thing about the dragons, is like, in theory, when you watch their military fight, they look insanely broken, but fundamentally, execution-wise, they lack the ability to rescale and resurge quick enough to ever justify taking these fights back-to-back. That's the problem. If I had to choose one big issue, don't get me wrong, eco is a big thing. I know people are going to bring that up. KP, like, come on, dude, look at the difference here. Definitely agreed. But even if he had 100 eco, I feel like rebooming that army to keep that push going, so hard. Because your production speeds are pretty damn slow, if we can totally real about this. All right, like, an archer would take you 18 seconds. Let's have a look in the Ibid base. 9 seconds. Obviously, the production speed is inflated that a bit, but still, they both have military academy, right? And yet, still, that's the amount of time you have to wait. It's pretty depressing. Wait. Pause my thought. He doesn't have military academy? But then again, could he even afford it? I don't really know where to begin with fixing Order of the Dragon in one move. I feel like it's a sequence of different buffs and tweaks to rework the Civ into a functional element of AoE 4. It doesn't happen with just one move. Yeah, the units are the issue, but you can't easily fix the unit issue with one tiny change. The issue is like not in economy. We've seen that. Their economy is actually the one thing that works. Hence why we've seen them work on water maps. Hence why we've seen games where their income looks ludicrous. Oh god, it's an L's back. Wait, is he going for... What? There is no way. There is absolutely, categorically no way that L's back should go up. I think he realizes it as well. He's repositioning it. Wait, he's still going for it. But if Voldemort just dives this now, he's got hand cannoneers. Oh my god, no. This is too late now. The cancel, the reset. Hand cannoneers now moving in. Look at the mango. Men at arms, Landsneck are going to chase onto that. They're showing their back to the enemy here. And the Villager Massacre commences in a game where you've chosen Elsbach over Pal Swabia. Reboom is going to be difficult here. Voldemort It's going to wipe out half the workers and wipe out the army alongside it. Mangoes are still alive, so it looks like Corvinus is going to be able to barely scrape his way up into Imperial here. But the price is going to be high. I can't believe that, dude. The Palace of Swabia there was so overly aggressive. He does at least now get it up. But 2 bombards are now on the way in play. He has at least got the Relic inside, so with a cannon emplacement, a spearman emplacement, he should be able to snipe out Siege. The problem now, though, is he needs to come to Papa. Well, actually, no, he needs to come to the kitty. Voldemort can just camp these. Stonewall's going up to make it even easier. Voldemort definitely went imp with Adabex, right? Because he likes winning games and Trade Wing's pointless. Yeah, so he did go Adabex. Remember, he done Advancement Wing for Castle. So this is interesting. I love this, by the way. Not for crossbows, but hand cannoneers. The Adabegs are really smart. He put it in the stable, so I'm assuming he was thinking Horseman, but it looks like he's going Golems instead. Bombard's now knocking at the door. Korv has Daisy Chained, right? I hope he has, because no E-repairs here is a big no-no. I mean, it says he's in range. Doesn't feel like he's in range. Adabegs give 20% more health to units for the building that they're in. See? Well, this is possibly the most underwhelming Elsbach I've ever witnessed. It's kind of funny, like, it is being sieged by 2 bombards and holding on, right? It should actually be free if he pathfinds. The reason it's so tanky, by the way, is the Relic. The Relic gives 25 more ranged armor here. So you can't, like, you know, can't pull anything at it. You have got siege damage, which helps out a lot, but it's the damage reduck in conjunction, right? So you can't torch it down. You can't easily blitz it with siege. I think it feels like it can last a millennia. Oh, wait, you're right, yeah. Elsbach has its own E-repairs, right? I still don't know why to this day. Keep about to go down. Warlord coming out. He's going to push them back. But that landmark is gone, and the floodgates are about to open. Corvinus, he doesn't have a standing army. Wait, was he transitioning full spears? There's been a hard lack of production coming out from Corvinus, and it might sting him. And I think he still doesn't have Military Academy in this game. What? Yeah, he 100% forgot about it. That's wild. I mean, I'm thinking back now. You know when we've said, like, maybe, you know, the issue is rebooming the army. Would there have been an opportunity to do so had he had the Military Academy? Could he have kept the pressure up? It's a stretch to imagine, but there's really no excuse to not have Military Academy, rather, at this point. You're suffering here, right? These spearmen, they take 18 seconds to produce. The archers are taking 18 as well. Meanwhile, other side of this, Voldemort, it's meant to be 23 seconds, but check how quickly you can get these crossbows out. Only 14 seconds to wait. And yes, Adabegs are phenomenal for Golems. Like, I bet late game would be broken if they had Camel Riders. Outpost now being sniped, so no cannon emplacements to easily protect him. I think this game is over, folks. 6 minutes away from a victory by Sacred Site. The other rough part now for Corvinus is, like, these weapons that he's wielding, right? These Gilded Archers he's leaning into. You could legit just snipe them with Culverins. Culverins do range damage, the armor helps out a little bit, but it's still 2 hits to kill. Yeah, I'm kind of weirded out that Adabegs don't function like Scholars. It kind of sucks that you have to remove buildings. Like right here, if you don't want the Siege Workshop anymore, you want a new Adabeg for, say, Golem production, that's now going to be 300 wood down the drain, right? 300 wood, and then on top of that, you then have to build a new Adabeg, which I think they are, was it 60-60? Sorry, 100-100, even more absurd. It's way too expensive. Corvinus, I think he's got 1 strike at this. If he fails, he just doesn't have any resources left. Kind of camped in the corner, right? Like, he's got some in reserve, but to reboom an army this big, it's not cheap. Wow, that's 2 relics taken away from him, right? Sorry, 1 relic taken away. So Voldemort now 4 to the 1 of Corvinus. Corv has to make a stand, starts to march out here. Landmark's being sniped down, only 2 remain. Bombards and Corvins, dude. Funnily enough, usually the Order of the Dragon are the ones who go for this comp. But funnily enough, this is also a great way of killing the Order of the Dragon comp. Spearmen try to dive in, but they throw their lives away, and now that's going to be wiped the army. And that should be a wave of the white flag. Battle of the trash civs in the late game. And we found out which one is the worst. Woof. What do we call that one? Do we call that like the 2 worst civs in Imperial Age fight in Imperial Age? Both suck at late game. Yeah, that should work. Oof. Is this 8-bit Northshire Abbey? Nah, mate. It's, actually, you know, it might be. Dude, what are you on about? Wait, is it Northshire? I thought it was... It's not Northshire, is it? You might be right. Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, that is Northshire. Why do I think it was somewhere else? I think my brain's farting today. You're on point, mate. Look at Averley. Dude, it's maps. Why did I even doubt Averley for a second? But yes, it is indeed. I don't know what, like, what place was I thinking it was? I'm not even sure where I was thinking it was. Anyway, pretty cool game though. I think that one's pretty uploadable. That was quite funny. Well, Core is searching now. Is this Louis? I think that's Louis. Let me double check. But that, dude, 1140. That seems like it's Louis, right? That is Louis. Yep. Who's he up against? Oh, he's scrimming, I think. 1 second, let me check something. What to do? 1 sec, just need to respond to my Bouldering partner. So I might be going around 3-ish now. Plans may have changed, so we'll probably be casting games for about another hour and a half. God, it's kind of one of those weird things about Twitch cultures. Like, because of the way that averages work and more people turning up the longer you're online, you're kind of pushed to be online longer. That's why I try to avoid doing very short stream days. Climbing? Yarp. Climbing. Mate, it's going to be so hot today for climbing. The humidity is cringe. Want some core gameplay? Ooh, true. I'm waiting to see if he finds a lobby. Should we give it a second, see if Core finds a fun fighting partner? Just going for a sec. No. There's legit no gentleman's agreement about not casting when people scrim. That's my policy. That's my morals or ethics or whatever. Ethics, I guess. And then like that is how I reward people who don't hide their data. People who do hide their data, dude. I will go full investor. Investigator, like Detective Gadget on their ass. I will find their games. That's my trade-off. If you really want to play the hide all your info data, I'll go out of my way to find your data. But if you're genuinely transparent about it, you're like, yo, you want my pub games? Here's my pub games. I'm like, dude, I'll only look at your pub games. Had it with multiple people. One sec. Sorry, someone sent me a long chapter to read. I'll read that later. Cause and lobby though. Who's cool goal? Yeah, that's my mentality on it. Because like when people are like, I don't want my pub games to be shoe, and I'm just like, dude, it's content. Content draws eyes on the game. Eyes on the game is good. There is no negative from this. And it's not like your info is really that private if it's a pub game anyway. My logic is always if it's something that's secret, you do a scrim. Right? Like I've been very vocal about this since like day one, that all pub game data should be fully exposed. You should not be able to hide it. And the logic that I usually get is, oh, but I want to do my secret strats. It's like, if you want to do secret strats, scrim. There really should, in my opinion, be an option so that scrims can be hidden. That's how I feel on it. So they don't show up in match history at all. And that's the trade-off that I'd take. And that's a reasonable trade-off. Because like, I've had it before where I've literally heard it from a player. So this person he's up against is ranked 700. I'm not sure about that. But I've heard it from a player before where they're like, yeah, I just don't see the value in like making my data public. I don't get anything out of it. It's like, what you get out of it is I can grow my channel. Why is that beneficial to you? Because if I actually was able to reach a point where we turn at least a break-even point, I can start putting money into show matches and into tournaments. But if I never reach that point, I'm not going to do esports like it's 2021 and invest thousands of dollars into something that's losing me money. That's a bad idea. One that I cannot afford to engage in. So, like, yeah, that's why I've always been very kind of respectful of people who just keep their data public. I don't, reveal their crap. Like, for example, we're watching these games right now because Voldemar and Corvinus, if you guys don't know, they're streaming it. And the fact that they're even allowing me to observe, they clearly don't mind, right? Same logic is like when I see Marine Lord has had a scrim game, I will cast those scrim games because if I check Marine Lord's stream and he scrimmed that game live, it's fair game in my eyes. Logic again there is that the scrim isn't holy because you as a player have exposed the secrets of it already. I'm just following up on it, right? But if someone, for example, they did leave their profile open, but they had secret scrims that no one has seen, that's never been publicly streamed, I will not do that. Because that to me is wrong, right? That's them taking time out to organize their secret environment. And either they left their data public so I can cast their pub games, or they simply forgot, and I'm not going to like take advantage of that. So that's my balance. So yeah, hopefully that gives some insights. I think it's important to have that type of relationship. It's a give and take on both sides. So yeah. What was the... Oh. I thought I heard something. Music in the background. I was like, what the hell? I heard like low-key... And so I was like, what is that? I really hope we get a patch soon. I don't know if we are going to get one that soon, but... I just want more maps, man. So I'm so excited when I see show matches or people doing like publicly stream scrims like this. I'm just tired of the normal maps. I think I talked about this yesterday. Oh, was it yesterday? Yeah. Like, there was an argument that some people were making of this whole logic of like, people don't want to watch non-standard maps because it's not relatable to their experience because that's not what they're playing. And I stand by what I said, which is that's bullshit. What people actually want, you're correct, they want to be able to play. But your argument that tournaments shouldn't have different maps because it's not what the players are seeing is wrong. The argument should be that the developer should be allowing those maps to rotate in so that people can get a taste of them. That's the problem. The disconnect is because it's a failure by the devs to provide these good experiences. Like, Frisian Marshes is a freaking... Dude, Frisian Marshes is better like 50% of the maps in the rotation. Is that a hot take? I don't think so. Alright. Yeah, Frisian Marshes is better than half of the maps we currently have in the rank pool. It has existed for years now, and yet for some reason, we still can't seem to get it into the ranked matchmaking. Shout out to Voldemar and Corvinus for giving us a taste of it, though. Japanese versus Delhi. This is intriguing, man. They're playing some very experimental matchups. It's kind of funny because I feel like we don't get to see this that much because the only way that you can practice these civs is scrims, and usually I feel like there's an element where players don't want to feel that they're wasting their scrim partner's time with a civ that doesn't work. Once again, this is another reason why this being in ranked would be fantastic, is if there's reservations that Frisian Marshes is a bit too biased towards certain civs, why don't we stick it in the rank pool and find out? Because then you'll see more people trying the Delhi. More people trying, like, say, what would be weird here? With Cids and Marlians, I still think Marlians is weird here. Maybe we see more people trying Zhuji. The list goes on, but because people have to organize a scrim partner to practice, it's hard to get that layer of experimentation that could reveal just how incredible Frisian Marshes are. Look at this. Scout open and double. Makes a lot of sense from Corvinus. A little bit surprised that Voldemar didn't go towards it. I think he's a little bit too gluttonous about this, right? The thought process is when you play a berry civ, your scout doesn't have to come back with sheep, right? Whereas the other civ, they have to return. That's not true here, though. Remember, against Japan, Japan can go out, get Tawara, and then they gather almost as quickly from berries as the Delhi do. The only downside is, of course, they don't inflate the berry count by 100 per bush. So interesting point that coming in from chat. Boy says, I don't like playing a lot of these weird maps, but I love watching them. But the counter argument I make, boys, how do you know you don't really like playing them? Like, you've played, like, what? I'm going to call it out 3 or 4 of these custom games, right? I'm like, eh. But if it's part of a rank pool where you had to experiment with it, you never know what you'd find and what you'd like, right? That's the thing. I feel like these type of maps are incredible, and they don't even get the chance to show how incredible they are to the majority of casual viewers and players. Well, this civ definitely gets the opportunity to always show how fantastic this is, though. Tower Victory on the way for Delhi. Corv is going to be going for the Kura Storehouse here. Should be on the back line to secure the wood. This is actually a really good spawn for Corvinus. Retracted stone, gold on the right side. There is like a risk that this gets pressured, but the nice thing is from this position, you can easily outpost here to fully protect the gold. And I imagine we are looking at... Ooh, is this a fast castle game? Because, like, funny thing about this matchup, guys, this matchup heavily favors the Delhi. There was a short period of time where Delhi players were really struggling because Japan would just fast castle. But the highest level players, people like Marine Lord Shu, that actually the Delhi don't have to be scared of that. If your opponent's going to fast castle, you just all in them when they try it. And Delhi are super effective at that due to how quickly they scale into a feudal force. And I imagine this is going to be what? Ghazi opening Archer follow-up? It applies a lot of pressure. You do have to go in is the only thing with Voldemar. This is the kind of the tricky thing with Corvinus getting 24 sheep. Is it's not enough to starve him in the corner. He'll never run out of resources before he breaks out. So it's really important if Voldemar wants to play feudal, if he wants to try and end this game fast and not play castle, he has to go fast. He can lock Sacred Sites quickly, and that can tick the timer. But a 10-minute wait time against fast castle Japanese is a death sentence, in my opinion. you need to restrict them hard. Oh, I just realized we're live. We can do predictions. Give you guys 1 minute. That was definitely the noise it makes. Double outpost seems usually likely here. I'm surprised Corvinus went for the outpost here, by the way. Typically, this is better because it stops a wraparound towards the wood line. I think his thought process was all the sheep here, though. But that's, like, movable, right? So kind of an intriguing position when this just seems a lot better. The tech up complete. Blacksmith dropped first, and Voldemar. This actually might be a fast castle build. We've got 0 production buildings being dropped, 240 wood in the bank. Either he's not sure yet, he wants to see what his opponent's up to, but I mean, even if you were a little bit paranoid that Japan's going to play Feudal Age, you still go Ghazi, right? Maybe he just goes archers into quick ram. Yeah, full infantry. Okay, this is cool. So Ghazi's like better when your opponent has flanks to raid, so you can shift left, right side of the base, right? But this is claustrophobic, man. He's in a corner. So what you've got here is Voldemar is min-maxing his military pop count. That's really important because it gives you an ability to build rams faster. It gives you an ability to break in quicker. What this could also be, by the way, considering that he has queued up Siege Engineering 5th, it could be that he's planning to lock in Sacred Sites with walls and hunker down. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I've watched a few Delhi Japanese games where that's happened, and I feel like you give more opportunities for Japan to win by doing so compared to an all-in timing. Especially when you consider the gold, right? I think that's going to be the biggest thing that Voldemar notices that has him send it full, is both gold veins are front-facing on one side. So if you get an army that can stay here, it's almost just a default GG. How are you guys bidding, by the way? I'm curious on the predictions. 50-50. Yeah, I remember a while ago I was convinced Japan had a way out, but the more I've been watching it recently, the more underwhelmed I've been. Okay, confirmation in. Voldemar is going to be locking in those Sacred Sites. Ooh, is this not a quick way to let Corvinus into the game, though? Because here's the problem now. It's going to be Mount Samurai. That's just a given. There's no way he does anything else. And oh my god, did the boar as well. Wait, no. Not like this. He has no damage. Oh my god, he's going to lose to a boar. I can't right now, dude. He's actually going to lose it to the ball. Scholar has to run away. I can't believe this, man. This is such a grief. He does at least get the Sacred Site locked in. This might be the single best ball pull I've seen in like 2 months. Pumbaa finally goes down and then evaporates into the ground, but a salute is given over by Corvinus. Because that boy just drew a lot of attention. He just carried the way for Japan to follow him through. Because Japan now has a free Castle Age. Gold being gathered, no harassment coming in. Sacred Sites have been locked in, yes, but we're 10 minutes away from a Delhi victory. Could easily be 5 minutes away from a Japanese one. Remember, he has got the sheep required for a lofty spam. And that is crazy. He doesn't even go stables. It's going to be Mass Samurai. Quite crafty, right? Gives him the burn through to decap Sacred Sites. Means that he can't be countered from an age behind by spears. Now, Ghazi, you'd think they're going to be a substantial way of dealing with this, but this is where this comp gets scary, is you open with Samurai and follow up with Onibagisha. Onibagisha will shred the Ghazi. You just have to remove the archers first with Samurai. And in fairness, you need so many Ghazi to deal with Castle Age Samurai anyway. Yeah, this is going to be like a H3 Burgrave build. First one queued up. walls going up as well, so Voldemort needs to buy time. This, what, is this going to be Castle Rush? Because I don't like the idea of Voldemort playing long feudal now. It's quite the lofty assumption that you can defend these Sacred Sites for 8 minutes. Volney's definitely reinvesting. Walls aren't up yet either. In fact, they're never going to go up by the looks of it. And Corv, what's he missing here? He does need to get his melee tech. I was about to say, Tathara isn't in. He's prioritizing Odachi, but Tathara's going to be important, especially with Ghazi now on the way. Corvinus, he's just sending it straight for the economy. A little bit surprised by that. Then again, he is riding blind. A little bit surprised Corvinus didn't have better vision, considering he has double scout. The first samurai are just going to be a waste. Yeah, not ideal here. Spearmen like this do contest reasonably well considering the attack speed. And this is why I was expecting Mounted Samurai, because it feels like Corvinus' opening was intended to raid. At least the way he used those samurai. But that was just a death sentence, man. I don't know. I'm kind of losing a bit of faith in Corvinus' strategy here. Because it doesn't feel like he's got good enough income to fully leverage the Yoroshiro Samurai spam. Remember, you can produce Samurai every 8 seconds, but they cost 130 resources, right? So you're spending... What does that end up being? That's like... I'm trying to remember the exact number. It's about 800-ish resources a minute out of that one building. It's like, in theory, if he puts everything just into samurai production, he can just about afford it. I mean, you mean Mass Yumi, but Mass Yumi could have worked. Ghazi's a little bit dicey against it, but Yumi do hit hard enough that Ghazi start to feel the pain. I would say, against Mass Horseman, yes, you do Castle Yumi. Against Ghazi, it's a bit more complicated because they're more tanky, and they have better DPS. Break from the walls. Samurai are going to be clashed with. Corvinus has more in the way, but is a trickle out. However, he has got the ranged armor in, so these archers do not do much damage at all. Good micro to try and pull back the injured. Looks like he's going to cut him down again. So Corvinus, once again, failing to break in here. This is getting expensive. I mean, Corvinus still has enough food to get up to 40, 50 samurai, right? But the problem is every time you do this, every time you reset and go again, you're kind of giving another edge over to Voldy. Would be nice to see him pulling the scholars. I think that's the only thing missing right now is like you've got 4 skulls at home and no reason for it. So if I had to like criticize one thing for Voldemar, it would be why aren't these scholars healing? Because I think if he uses the scholars to heal, Corvinus is just dead in this game now. After that terrible fight, if Voldemar just focuses on healing and defending these sites, I would be shocked to see a win for the Japanese. I'd be shocked to see a decap at that point. New wave coming. We have at least got the melee techs coming in now. Corvinus has got the melee +2, right? So no +3. That's a little bit more pricey. I actually think it's more worthwhile probably getting insulated helms now, considering the mass melee. Run from the walls, though. And Scholars still not being pulled. Well, Corv can't quite get Abandonment yet. Remember, he used Stone to upgrade melee attack. He doesn't have the resources for it. He kept coming in, but Backstab on the way. Voldemar! Uh-oh! It's happened again. Cuts reinforcements, and then he's going to turn around for the mass. This is really well played by Voldemar. I love the execution. You just whittle down these guys with archers, and you cut reinforcements with mass melee. And although you're pausing the timer, it means your opponent isn't escalating to critical mass. Ghazi are going to have to delay this. Armin continues to push him away. This is so scrappy. Voldy, even more Ghazi coming now. Walls soon to be burnt through. I love this. He's waiting to see Corvinus just try to burn the walls, and then he goes back in with the Ghazi each time. Main army's now returned. Second wave might not reach here in time. Flash underway. Now remember, these choke points can be Corvus' friend if there is enough samurai left, but once again, there won't be. Damn, this is kind of wild as well. The reason why he's leaning Ghazi is, remember, Adachi gives bonus damage against spears. Ghazi get bonus damage against heavies. So it's kind of a double value point for Ghazi up against samurai here. It's going to be a reset and pull away. Food is becoming a problem, but remember, there is fishing to bolster this. Corvinus. Let's get dive a bit deeper. So still not looking for that decap. What worries me as well is over time, Voldemort is building an Archer Mass together. They might not kill fast, but with walls going up each time, it adds in this sliver of damage that gives an edge. This is definition of headbutting a wall, isn't it? There's literally even walls involved in this. He has got the Daimyo now, so he can go for the Bannerman. Samurai count is getting a little bit ugly, though. Down to just 7 on the front line. Not healthy for it. Ghazi count has been stripped back. Only 7 of them in total. I mean, it's crazy to me because if Voldemort genuinely had just used those scholars, I think this would have been GG. Now, with a lack of Ghazi to front line and the Archer count being chipped down, I think we're going deeper. Relic's also being returned behind this, by the way, over time. So Corvinus is starting to bank up additionals. And what is up, my boy Voldemort? I got a feeling he just won this, considering he raids through. Nah, I don't think he's got it anymore. Ghazi count is way too low. So I was just saying, Voldy, one kind of thing that I think was a blunder here, buddy, is you didn't pull the scholars. Did you forget about them? Because I legit think if you pulled the scholars, you would have won these engagements. The timing on that. Oh, Voldy. Don't worry, buddy. I give coaching sessions for $20. We can talk about the scholars more now, kid. You're already annoyed. How come? Because the ball? Also, let me just ball decides game. Two Scout Japan opening on Frisian was expecting something else. Yeah, I said that was like, it was intriguing you didn't engage with that element. The funny thing is, I think you, like, honestly, I think your game was recoverable if you pulled the scholars. I think that's legit the only thing that was missing for you. Because the Ghazi were kind of holding on. Maybe more spears as well, because like Ghazi are kind of a bait in a way that they're... How to describe it? You want enough Ghazi to draw the Samurai attack and then Spearman to support, right? Because the Spearman take the bonus damage. But yeah. I don't know, I would be curious to see that situation play out again with 4 scholars patting heads. Send me your draft. Alright, let's have a look. Wait, you guys played Himeyama and I missed that? Sag. Alright, one sec. Let me open this. We'll have a look. I'll show stream. Oh, you didn't play Himeyama. Oh, right. Okay, so you weren't playing Play All. You're doing BO. Okay, so let's have a look. Wrong thing. So... Frisian Coastal, Himeyama, Holy Island, Hillendale start. Yeah, because you opened Hillendale, right? And that game, so that game, I don't know what you feel that game, Voldemort. I think your issue in that game was you were too aggressive. You were setting up walls, but like, you kind of overshoe your hand and didn't have an archer transition, right? So when you had to fall back to defend, you had nothing to hold. So it's like, I think you went 2 or 3 knights too many at least. When you probably should have been hunkering down and going somewhere cheaper while attacking. So that game was kind of rough. We saw the Order of the Dragon Ibid game. That was a meme game. What else was there? So... Holy Island we didn't catch, but I glimpsed that was really quick, right? So I'm assuming you picked... Did you go Mongols against Rus? Or did you actually do HRE? I'm guessing you done HRE, right? But I feel like you should save HRE for Himiyama instead of Malians. I'm guessing you tried Mongol all-in against Rus, though. Which is tough, because Kremlin's broken. It's like... You want to do Mongols, but I think because it's Rus, you've probably done HRE there, which makes sense. It's like Mongols against any of these other civs can work on Holy Island, but like... Gets Rus is stupid. As in, like, stupid how Rus... I would have buffered that way. And then, so we just saw Frisian. At that point, you had Delhi, Malians, or I'm guessing Mongols. Because actually, yeah, you must have used HRE in Holy Island, because there's no way you wouldn't use HRE in Frisian otherwise. Delhi, Malian, Mongols. I was saying I've seen a few players playing Malians and trying it. I don't rate it highly on Frisian, though. Maybe Mongols could have worked. Mongols could have been good. And then when you went Himiyama, that would have left you with Malians or... What was the other? Oh, yeah, because we said you shouldn't use Delhi. So Malians or Delhi on Himiyama. Probably Malians then, right? Yeah, Himiyama, I think your draft is like dicey by the time you get to Himiyama anyway, right? Whereas Corvinus, yeah, solid picks. Like Abbasis is a super strong pick right now. Japan works really well with these type of pools because you have Holy Island, but you also have Flex. Because Frisian is a decent map, as you just saw for them. I think also Himiyama kind of functions nicely. English is a good blocker pick on Himiyama as well. I imagine that is what Corvinus was saving English for. For those who don't know, English is kind of broken on Himiyama because they're the only guys who can leverage a pond in a game when they exist. Because if anyone else tries to go to the pond and they're bringing English villagers, you lose because of short bow. And then, what? Yeah, Otto's was always going to be his Hillendale pick, right? He could have went with Abbasids. I just don't think you do because Abbasids can function in Frisian, and they can also work on Himiyama, kind of. I'd say that the Abbasids was potentially for Frisian, though. Yeah, Corv's draft was kind of better. I think with this map pool, Ibids is kind of overrated, no? Would you agree, Voldy? Like, Ibids, I kind of like them on Hill and Dale. They're more efficient for getting castle on Hill and Dale than on Dry Arabia. But you don't want IU for Holy Island. I don't know how I feel about them in Himiyama still. I think English is just much better. On Coastal Cliffs and Hill and Dale. Yeah. I don't think Ibids are like top 3 on Coastal Cliffs though, right? They're solid, but they're not like broken. The only tough part I find with IU is if you get a bad spawn with your gold, you can't gather the stone because it's too far away. And then you get brain deaded. Yeah, agreed. Like, you don't have a safe tree line. I've seen it like, so for example, if you'd saved Ibids for Himiyama and got there, he would have just picked English and you're dead. Like, actually, I think a lot of your draft has a problem when you get to Himiyama because he has English. You could use Malians. I just think a good English player can really screw you with English on that map right now because he plays Pond for an eco advantage, and then you can play like what Abbey of Kings into potentially like you do longbows if you see no jabs, or you go mass horseman. Like, there's a lot of options I think for English on that map. Yeah, Voldy's agree. Yeah, the English. Ibid's overrated. I mean, dude, you played a very funky Ibid style for sure in that game, though. the all-in feudal Ibid build was intriguing to watch. We had a good chuckle about that. The moment I saw 2 rams being built by an Ibid player in feudal, I knew someone was up. Yeah. I just think Jones sucks, though. I think Joan is like a bottom 3 serve right now. People cried for Nurse way too soon. I called it as well. Like, it's so dumb when people call for Nurse that early because it's too quick. Way too quick. Yeah, yeah, it worked out. It was very memey to watch though, Voldy. Like, and then I chuckled at the fact that it was going to go into the late game with like the two of the worst civs in the late game. Okay, wait. Are you? No. Any time an Ibid player builds Rams in Feudal, it's considered memey. And then yeah, the late game was hilarious. Because I said, wow, I can't believe this. That single Gilded Archer is tanking his whole army. He might win this. And then it was like, he dove deeper and had no follow-up army. I was like, GG. Ibid aren't bad. No. But I think they're disadvantageous in that matchup, actually. I think Ibids are slept on in Imp because Gulims and Hand Cannoneers with Mamluk's Bravery. The problem, however, against the Order of the Dragon is because they have less units, you get less triggers of Mamluk's Bravery. So you snowball slower, right? That's the issue, I think, with that matchup for Ibids. Theoretically in late game. It's still, like, fine for them because Order of the Dragon, like, have more issues than, like, me. But theoretically, I should have a really hard time there. If Order of the Dragon ever actually received any sort of logical buff for the late game. I think that's the main focus. Well, no, the focus is the mid game, right? Like the way Ibids propel a lot of like their advantages is based on Castle and how they leak up into Imperial. Right? Like I don't feel like I've ever seen a game where Ibids are even with someone in Castle and they go Imperial and they feel good about it. It's usually that they do something to control the tempo to get there. I don't reckon tempo build up is absolutely crucial. What, are you? Really? Tried FC versus OOTD aggro and died. Well, that was the thing I found comedial. As I said, it's hilarious to watch the Order of the Dragon player be the one fast castling and the IB player all-inning Feudal. Just so weirdly polarizing. What's that? Let me check something. Did I miss that email? I think I missed that email. What? Sorry, let me check something. Someone's trying to give one of my influencers a dog rate. I'm just sitting here like, what? Yeah, I was talking about this earlier because Baltimore, we were like debating over a Chinese H3 game. I was like, sometimes playing off meta is good. Because I call it implied, like the implied hand, right? If you play the implied hand, you already gave the advantage. Your opponent doesn't even need to potentially scout. That's why people were able to start countering Ibids, is because Ibids theoretically are manageable because you immediately react as if it's fast castle. And if you react as if it's fast castle, you can contest it, right? But before people started reacting as if it's a fast castle build, beating Ibids was a big struggle. Now securing free relics, you're not going to smash your camels against OTD. Yeah. It's also the gold starvation, right? Because if you think, I mentioned the two overtune units for Order of the Dragon is Lance Nectar and Gilded Lance Nectar and Crossbowman. And if you starve his gold, he can't do anything. Yeah, I think we caught that chat, right? Like we were talking about how I was kind of expecting him to just go Imp, but he went 2 TC and hunkered instead. You didn't see the Lance Nectar? Oh, dude, you reacted quite well, actually. You took out all but I think 1 or 2. But then your problem is you tunnel visioned a Gilded Archer that was being healed. So you legit just ignored the prelates and you attacked the unit with full range that had 6 ranged armor. Which was hella funny to watch. this one archer was tanking like 10 plus units attacking him. And I'm just like, he's not dying. We need to switch targets. Yeah. All right. Shall we watch Avali versus... Is this core, by the way? Do you know if this is core? No. So the fight on top of the sacred site, you legit slap the crap. Oh, this one is Ravane then. Okay. You slap the crap out of the healed archer. You fixed it on the next fight where you had the cannon placement also coming through halfway through. That's when you started to target his prelates. But the fight on the sacred site, I distinctly recall you legit had 10 plus units attacking one gilded archer that was being healed by, I think, 5 prelates. And I was like, Jesus Christ. I've played enough Overwatch this week. I'm now watching Overwatch in Age of Empires. This is the equivalent of a Mercy pocketing a Reinhardt. What am I watching? It is kind of ludicrous how tanky they get, right? With scale armor plus the blessing for an extra 1 armor. Ugh. Intriguing though. One sec, I'm checking if my... So I was planning to stream until like 5, but my friend is like, let's go bouldering at 3-ish. So I might stream for about another hour and then call it. Yeah, cheers, Voldy. Cheers for the entertainment and cheers for the chat. Always nice to have a good talk. Good old chinwag. It's Ravane in the membrane time. We've got Japanese up against English. Welcome back to the Age of Empires for action, folks. English versus Japan is actually quite a fun matchup for me to watch at the moment. Not just because I love the Japanese, but because people are trying to dissect how you perform in the early game here. The issue for Japan is inherently they look to unlock castle and go from there. But the tough issue is English are so solid at reaching castle age right now, these white tower builds, that I actually think something has to change for Japan. I don't think this is a Civ matchup where Japanese can just lean on that idea of fast castle and run away with the game. I actually think this Civ needs to innovate. And that's tough, because where do you innovate on a Civ that has one of the most underwhelming feudal ages in the game? I'm almost tempted to say Irbid feudal age feels better than Japan's. That's how rough it is, because the biggest issue with Japanese is, in theory, a feudal age can be strong, but the time it takes to get strong eclipses the value compared to going castle every day of the week. And if you try to play long feudal here, it's just going to lead to an eco lead for the English, because we know how this goes. Avali, he's a TC boomer boy. He loves his TCs. This is his time to shine. If only they had ranged units in feudal. Well, Faye, this is where I'm afraid I'm going to have to call you a noob. Okay? Because the Japanese do have a ranged unit. You just don't like acknowledging it. They have the overpowered outpost with arrows. Didn't see that one coming. Abbey of Kings now on the way. Kuristo House on the other side. Yeah, Yuumi to me, like, okay, Faye, please, I need you to do this for me. I'm going to convert you. You need to do some fast castle Yuumi builds. You will thank me. Don't do it in feudal. No. That's not what it's about. Get them boys to castle age, and then Zerg it. Blessings. Kuristo House versus Abbey Kings. Like, you remember that GUA game where you spammed Onimusha against his Chuganu? If you built Yuumi, it would have been so much easier. Trying to get 1500 anyway? I didn't realize you'd fallen below 1500. Hey! You get it? Because Yuumi's going to get you some wins. No, actually, the Yuumi mass build is really effective. I wonder if it could work against the English as well, because you have raw numbers, so in a way, the white tower kind of gets overwhelmed. Your opponent can't play longbows to counter because the gap closes too quick. It's similar to HRE logic. The only issue is, like, if you're fast casting on both sides, the English will have knights, right? That's why this usually goes knights versus Mount Samurai. But that's where, you know, I've seen a few players try to do the knight opening into Mount Samurai, and they always win because the Japanese player never follows up with Onimusha. If you're playing Japanese in this matchup, Mounted Samurai into Onimusha is your best friend, because Mounted Samurai can beat knights. The problem is that the English knights win because they back off and heal. So your counter to that is quite simply bring Onimusha, get Kaburiya, and you can run in and snipe all the injured units. And what is up, McGitches? Thank you very much for the Prime sub. Don't forget to use those Primes if you're watching now or you're watching later. It helps the channel, and also make sure that you can join us live and not have to worry about those ads. What? Wait, what is that? That might be the weirdest farmhouse placement I've ever seen for Japan. I'm trying to think what the thought process is behind it. Wait, is that 2 tiles away? Yeah, okay, I think that's foresight for farms, right? So that's actually kind of smart if that's the case. Yeah, he's got enough there. It looks weird, though, because he misaligned for the Kura storehouse. That's kind of cool, though. I like that he's doing that because I've seen a lot of players, they build their farmhouses right here, and they regret it later when they have to buff up their TC because they have less farms in range. Yeah, agreed. That's the part that like I found polarizing, is like he's literally 1.5 farms away from the Kura. See, guys? Overpowered range unit in the feudal age for Japan. Oh my god. Yeah, this is just going to be fast castle bulk. Second TC is about to be dropped by Avali. I'd love to see him drop it on the deer. And then you white tower between the two. The reason the deer is important here, I think too many English players sleep on this. It gives you such a quicker castle age unlock timing. Instead, that's going to be on the gold. Oh, actually, yeah, that's fair. I just realized. I thought he had gold closer on the forward. For some reason, I thought this gold was his closer one. So that kind of makes sense, right? Like, if he doesn't drop here, then the fast castle of the Japanese is much quicker. Does kind of suck, though. It would have been nice maybe to have brought the scout back and shoved this in. I find sometimes people are so fixated on doing some with the king, and they keep the scout with him. This is a game where I don't think you need the scout with the king at all. And to be honest, if you got shoving on deer to here, riding all the way to the bank. Let's hit the speed up a little bit, because this is just going to be 2 TC versus fast castle. So the next minute and a half isn't going to be the most engaging gameplay. I do love this, though. Avali, he's torching down the farm. This is really important. When you see a Kura storehouse placement on the left side of the base, you can do this all the time, because it's away from the TC. And by taking out this farm, it means a new spawn is going to happen here. A little bit of a mistake there from Avali, though. He did lose the scout and club the sheep far away. But the whole logic is if you stand here with a few units and keep torching, you can't, like, there's no turn-off option, right? This is why for a while, the Japanese players would not build Kura storehouse against Mongols, because these farms would just keep spawning and paying them. King? Wait, Avali got a kill. What? Oh, wow. That was... I don't understand Ravain's mistake there. Like, he should be paying full attention to that. Ravain is not a low-rank player, by the way, guys. Ravain is high rank at the moment. Avali is sitting in 40th place on the ladder. Ravain, I think, is like top 20 still. Yeah, 14th in the world right now with 492 games played. This guy, his rate of improvement has been insane to witness. And it is going to be the standard stables play. Let's speed this up a bit. So he's going to ride in with those first few knights. This is where Avali needs to rush. He needs to put 20 villagers on that white tower to rush it up ASAP. You can't waste time here. In fact, Avali's timing is off here. Really off. He should have enough for a tech up by now. Oh, man. He ran out of sheep, didn't he? Yeah, okay, he's got 5 left. I think this is the issue with when you don't get the deer, right? Like, the amount of farms he's added in here is the difference between tech up, and now he might be in trouble because Avali doesn't even have a Rax. Ravain has missed out on one critical thing here, though. There is no undermesh. Instead, he's going for the melee attacks. Village starting to get chipped down, though. Second Mount Samurai's on the way. Third is already... Oh, my... Guys, this might be a 10-minute and done. Avali's entire eco lead is going to disappear. He can't stop gathering, right? Because if he starts gathering, he's just going to die. Because it's going to snowball. What he's praying for right now is that Ravain runs out of food so that there's gaps in the Mount Samurai count. It's crazy to me as well, because if Ravain had just had undermesh, there wouldn't be any gaps. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like this is Ravain making a critical blunder. Undermesh being slept on is a huge mistake here. I would take Undermesh over Melee Tech 2 any day of the week. Because the thing is, like, even if you don't have Melee Tech 2, you still kill in 2 hits. Right? So Melee Tech 2 is completely redundant. Now, he does at least kill off some villagers, so Avli only with a 6 eco lead, but White Tower now up gives him a way into this game. And the reason why he wasn't gathering from farms is I think he was on berries at first, right? That would at least explain it. 2 relics back, and we have got a Euroshiro drop in the TC, so it looks like he's trying to contest the 2 TC of English a bit indirectly. Usually this type of build, the play for Japan is to build a second TC themselves after taking all the relics. I wonder if we're going to see this in this game or if Ravain's going to try to all in. Because I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but a big part of why Ravain is ranked all the way up to 14th in the world is his playstyle is well suited to the current meta. He's an all-in type player. We've seen this time and time again when he's playing civs like the HRE, where he'll Burgrave and spam, right? It's kind of similar here. What, you don't like the building placements? What? Do you not like the farm and a half gap with the farmhouse? What? And that is why you don't lead from the front. King goes down. But Avali's going to stabilize now, right? Like, he's got White Tower to always fall back on. He's got crossbows starting to be layered in. He can always peel back injured knights to heal at the Abbey of Kings. This is the problem now for Japan. I think Ravain has to change unit type. Especially this White Tower damage. And he just realized, like, Undermesh here is about 2.5 minutes late. At least. Behind this, we are getting the tech switch, though. Rax is now being dropped. Sacred Sight's also being locked in. And a 5th relic to be grabbed soon for purple. Longbows by... Okay, thank God. I was about to go on a tandem there. Like, longbows make sense if you see Onimusha, but you do not build them before you see the first Onimusha. Samurai again, though. And you're starting to see how much this is paining him, right? Like, the White Tower, if he had that Undermesh before it went up, he would have retained 2 Samurai at any given time while the White Tower is being built. There's an argument that Avali would have been dead at that point in the game. But now that the White Tower is up, level 1 ranged armor is not good enough. And I'd remind people that this White Tower doesn't have Steeled Arrow yet, right? It's 12 base damage times 3. It's pretty ludicrous. Another big issue I think Japan has with this type of build is they are a Flood Civ, right? They're based around the idea of zerging your opponent. And that's where static emplacements become really annoying. I think the White Tower is like almost the perfect solution to Japan's timing. Because instead, like this type of comp that Ravain's doing shouldn't really work. Right? When your opponent is playing English with condensed 2TC White Tower, you have to lean into Siege, either in Rams or Trebs. Because the amount of bodies you need to dive, it doesn't add up. It would require Avali to not be building units, basically. Which is just not going to happen. Question is whether Avali knows his Bugisha as well. Because he doesn't have a scout, right? So he's playing quite a blind game. However, Ravain is revealing the Bugisha early. This is actually good news for Avali fans. He's getting free information on the game that he should be given. Say that, Ravain. Skirting the vision right now. No second TC, by the way. Just Daimyo being upgraded. This is where Onimusha does feel a bit more expensive, by the way, is when you go for a Daimyo drop in the TC, you're spending more food on villages, right? Usually it feels better to drop them in the farmhouses. Like, I'm a big fan of these builds where it's double farmhouse with the Euroshiro drops. 75 food may not sound like a lot, but when you're at the early phase of Onimusha spam, it's a huge amount of difference. And I think Avali did see it. Check that. Men-at-Arms now being queued up. Sacred Sights are being locked in. So this is an improvement over the game we saw from, was it Core the other day? It was Core versus Certain, right? The issue in that game is Core was playing Japanese, but he didn't rush for the Sacred Sights. So Zerton on the English had plenty of time to just chill and start to boom. Considering the damage done to Avali's economy and the timing on these Sacred Sites being locked in, there is a world in which Avali has to come out to fight ahead of when he's ready. That's really good news for Purple. Timer starts. Yeah, Korv said the same thing about Euroshuras. Oh yeah, dude, farmhouses are crazy good. Like, I can't believe B proved how good they were a long time ago, and a lot of players still sleep on it months later. But from the wall attempt coming in. Tax Fedora is going to be there. Avali, not much of a front line though. Mistakes made. Samurai dive in. And Ona Bigisha are left behind to milk it. Villagers do get the repair in time, but it doesn't matter. It's going to be a breakthrough. You can't frontline with crossbows up against Bugisha like this. That's going to be a massacre. Samurai distract the crossbows, and Bugisha leak into the economy. The entire villager lead is about to evaporate. Oh, what a timing attack out of Ravane as well. Seek Shelter drags them past the ladies and leads to more blood spilled. And now Ravane approaching a 10 eco advantage. This is over. I mean, the time is now going to take Avali to recover this. Ravane is firmly in the driving seat in this game. And he still has an army left. Incredible. Wow, the thing. No armor clad, right? Yeah, I think he got it through after that initial fight. No castle upgrade on the men-at-arms. And the Bugisha can just walk away, right? Like, they've done their duty, they've done their service. 39 villagers dead in this game now. 45 alive for Avali. Damn. Succinct Japanese timings, folks. And a build that probably shouldn't have paid off the way it did. It definitely required some mistakes from Avali, right? And we mentioned a few of them. But I can't really take anything away from Ravane. He played this damn well. Kind of scary, though, to think that this is what this player is capable of. Avali is a known commodity, a very talented player. But, you know, if Ravane tweaks those small optimizations we talked about, things like Undermesh, just imagine what he could end up doing in the upcoming qualifiers. Because remember, this is a matchup that's meant to favor the English due to the later phase of the game. So the pressure is on Japan to end fast. And that is music to Ravane's ears. Military Academy now also being queued up. A breakthrough on the wall again. No, 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 no. We just buried our dead. Oh, again. Villagers getting hit up. White Tower is going to protect a lot of them here. Now, guys, this is the good news. Check this out. Avali is able to protect 42 villages with all these garrison spots. He only has 47 villagers. We've solved the problem. No one else can die. He didn't like they didn't go to the deer? What, you mean Avali? Yeah, we highlight that as well. I said he should have shoved in the deer. So, like, to recap on the other game, Avali's timing would have been a lot better. His game would have been a lot cleaner. If A, he had shoved in the deer, and then B, as a result, had less farms to get the White Tower quicker. On the other side, the really big issues for Ravane, the number one issue was no undermesh. That was the blunder. That was the number one blunder. Oh, the deer for Ravane. He eventually went to them, right? But the Ford ones weren't taken. That was a bit weird, but I think that's because he's worried about the night raids, which I forgive. I mean, dude, you win the games, you get to do whatever you want, right? And it looks like he's firmly on his way to that. 5.5 minutes away. Avali has got a grand total of 2 military units. And now, with Ravane going 2TC, he's never going to fall behind in economy. Now we know Avali. He doesn't just surrender. He doesn't just GG. He's going to hang in there like a kitty on a line. I mean, English is one of those civs as well, where you almost get convinced that anything can happen. However, the English do have their limitations. See, I think what Avali has done is he's read the history books in my country. He's like, wow, every time they lose, they just retreat and survive. They always come back. They once had the biggest empire. Yeah, Avali, That's because we had an island to fall back to. Sadly, Dry Arabia doesn't have an island for you to go hide on. So a little bit harder. I do love self-deprecation of my history. It is kind of true, guys. Every time we lost a major battle, oh no, it goes back to island. What is going on with the macro here? This is insane. Like, just I don't know. Build 200 units or go Imperial Age. 3,000 gold. He's got way too much passive gold. This is wild. Decap attempt. It's not going to work out. That was almost 10% of Avali's military force. Keep drop is kind of intriguing, but Avali did run out of gold, right? Like, that's how many knights and crossbows he built. It's kind of crazy how fast he drained this. So this is more a necessity than a desire, which feels terrible. 900 stone into this doesn't feel great. Like, it's not about diving your base anymore. Ravane is so far ahead, he doesn't have to make aggressive moves. He just has to react to yours and defend these sacred sites. Let's speed it up a bit. Dude, wait, how is he? Wait, so he doesn't take the deer in front of his base, but he takes the deer in front of Avali's. Are you kidding me? And we're in again. Oh, Avali. As soon as he's done recovering from the loss of limbs of the last raid, it's time to give over what little remains. He's already lost his legs, and now he's going to lose his arms. Now remember, guys, Avali now has another 15 garrison spots, so he can keep 57 villages safe. Which is great, because he only has 62. Now, admittedly, Avali is getting as good of a fight as he's going to get here, courtesy of the attack speed buffer and the White Tower. But with half your economy being idle, as long as Ravane doesn't overdo this. Wait, Ravane, no, dude, you're not playing. No, you don't have a castle here. Okay, I swear Ravane thinks he could have keep dropped that right now. That looked like a guy who was heading for a castle. We have now got Ravane taking both deer stacks from Avali's base, while winning the game with Sacred Site victory. This is absolutely just unhinged gameplay. Could have been a town center drop. True, he is holding 1,200 stone. You might be onto something here. You'd think, you know, maybe just upgrade another TC. Wow, Fort Siege Workshop. We've got Trebs on the way. I mean, the Trebs are kind of unnecessary here, right? Because Avali isn't going to be able to come out. Isn't going to, like, hunker down. He has to come out anyway, but he won't be able to come out. So it's better to actually just invest in more military than invest in Trebs. So Avali has a chance if he can decap a Sacred Site. Because remember, once again, if this game goes late enough, Japan is not favored. Because English attack speed aura just disintegrates in the late game, right? Mass Men at Arms beats pretty much everything Japan does in the hyper late game. If you go hand cannoneers, your hand cannoneers are notably worse, right? You can get a 15% damage increase, but the English can get a 40% increase in attack speed. It just eclipses it. But oh my god. Yeah, this might actually be the most bullied-looking English player I've ever seen. And I'm okay with it. I'm not ashamed to say I'm okay with it. Quite simply, English picks. Army's going to react in time as well. I mean, this is the benefit of the comp. Onibagisha Samurai, the mobility is unrivaled. And Avali, oh no. Dude, just call it. Call a spade, and use that spade to bury yourself a grave, because you're dead. 45 seconds to go. An immobile army makes an attempt that is easily read. And now all he can do is weep. It's going to be a northside pull. The trebuchet gives it away, though. So army's already on the move, right? Yeah, he splits the Bagisha. Mountain Samurai are going to go hunting again. Oh, my God. Does Avali like this? Like, usually I'd have to pay to get whipped like this. I don't know. This is kind of weird. The final attempt is the villagers on the north side. Maybe. Maybe. However, at what cost? I'm not even sure this works. No, it doesn't. There's one Mountain Samurai on the way to ruin his day. Bagisha are parting in the center, and that one Mountain Samurai is going to be the farewell for Avali. Goodbye. Sleep well, sweet prince. Your time to die has arrived. This is the equivalent of the guy missing his legs and his arms from the Monty Python sketch. It's a flesh wound. It's bloody well not. And Ravane, what a player. Played succinctly. Small little room for improvement on the execution that could have made this a lot quicker, but can't fault the end results, baby. Japan, so good, they even take all the enemy deer. Oh, that was brilliant. All right, so yeah, I think that's going to be the focus of that one. What do we call that one? When map control is so good, you take everything. Stats? What stats do you want? Like, there's not too much to marvel at here. His ass got whooped pretty hard. Poor little Avali. About to turn into Avery. I'm sorry, that pun was terrible. I don't regret it, though. Have I got enough time for one more? I think so. Should probably have enough time for one more. Dimmu Delhi versus Japan game from 1 hour ago. Probably won't be able to because Dimmu privates his data. Who's this player? China, rank 140. Never played before? Wait, what? Oh, anybody here never played rank before? Yeah, Emma hasn't. Emma don't play the game. Just checking with the person I'm going bouldering with. I don't think I've touched ranked, actually. I played a bunch of quick match. I think we didn't lose any games in quick match 1v1. So I don't know, like, can I see my elo on quick match 1v1? Probably. Let's have a look and see what we are. I'm at 1262 elo. After 23 games. Yeah. Not too bad. Not too bad. Like that, I'm pretty sure like since Sultan's Ascend, I don't think I've lost a single game of 1v1. I don't think so anyway. Because we played some when I was in Germany last year, and we just whooped. Oh yeah, dude. Like, yeah. Yeah, look, here you go, guys. I stopped playing because winning's too easy. Check this. So what we got? Win. And then win, done. Easy. Is it like, was it 1381? Is that diamond? Beat diamond players. Wait, what? 1381's diamond, right? Yeah. Easy. Blige on Roost, dude. Like it's pretty much what he does all the time. This is bread and butter. Next game now. Sorry, mate. Ain't got enough time. Corner's doing private games. Mayo's searching. Who's Avali got? You enjoy watching pros play than watching yourself? I don't know, like, I kind of find that intriguing, because, like, you'd think people would be more interested in relatable gameplay than just pro gameplay, right? The other thing as well is, like, I'm surprised more people aren't turned off by pro POVs where they basically do a switcheroo and then move around with it. Like, you know, I'll show you what I'm going to say. Where they basically do this. Okay, Avali's a bad example. Where they basically do this. Dimu's a good example. Because Dimu's from StarCraft, right? So there'll be a lot moving around. So there'll be switch. Right? Obviously, this isn't the smoothest, but I've noticed when you watch some of the players, you'll see it. They'll be like this. They'll be, maybe what? Like this kind of thing. That sort of thing. 1 second, got a call coming in. Alright, that was my boulder in person. So we got about half an hour. So I reckon, I mean, it's usually versus Mongols. It should be half an hour. Oh god. Free camera. Let's get ready to go. Calling you out? No, I'm not calling you out, Faye. You played Heroes of the Storm. That inherently means that likely, like, you know, most of your gameplay should be like this. Click. 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 I'm kidding. Alright, let's get ready to go. Alright, one and all, welcome back to A4 Action. This is a weird sight. Avali on the Zhuji, not Dimu. And Dimu takes to the Mongols. Yo, this isn't a matchup we really see that often, right? Zhuji is kind of falling off the side of a cliff. And so is Mongols. So Zhuji comes out in comp, but not too much in ranked unless your name is Dimu. And Mongols pretty much comes out almost nowhere right now. So I had to check in on this. And it's already a very interesting opening. This is cool because a while ago, people realized that Mongols are actually hard countered by China. Because the spam and spam doesn't work. Because China can just spam spears with supervision. Zhuji are really no different. They can do the exact same thing, and that's what we're seing here. The hilarious part is that Avali looks like he's going for an outpost rush. Because he doesn't realize Dimu's coming in on the berries. What? And also the triple sheep yoink. Wait, Avali only has 10 sheep to 15. And Dimu's going to reveal the bad news. Ooh, was that worth it though, right? Because now the spin and spam, like Avali could come back and overwhelm. Instead though, he goes deeper. So is this no one gets to go feudal? Because I don't think that holds true. Dimu's about to get the last gold required. Remember, Avali can actually get up to feudal fairly fast with taxation. You just saw it there. Because he's building spears, look how much taxation you get per. It ramps you up really fast. Villages, oh my god. There is going to be a question asked about this game. Should that Khan have shot at the villager? I think we just got the answer. Oh my god, that was almost perfect. It's crazy actually, because if Dimu had just not shot with that Khan, the outpost goes up, he garrisons, and then Avali's in trouble, right? Because you'll be right in range of where the sheep have been clubbed. Instead, Avali now gets an opportunity to swarm Dimu. It does, however, cost him the tech advantage. Dimu on the way up now with 9 people on the silver tree. And that's bad news for Avali, right? Because Spearmen are a terrible counter to traders. Decent micro by Dimu to get that much of an exchange, right? Like, what was it? 4 Spearmen versus 8, and he almost gets a 1-for-1 exchange. That's meant to be an edge you have is the Khan, right? Like, that's the balance of this, is that Zhuji/China will always end up with more spears, but you have the Khan that can actually one-hit down those heavily injured spears. Dimu's villager will even make it all the way home. He's like, I don't know what happened. I was commissioned to make a tower, and then all these villagers just seem to be really angry about it. We're going to make them a nice little place to hide, and I didn't like it. So Avali now rushing up towards that feudal age. This will be a Medigarden, a very safe one, I imagine. We're probably just going to be looking at one here, actually. I don't think you can get that ambitious. Not with the fact your opponent's already this far ahead in tech up timing. What? Okay, no, the villagers are already here. Okay, that's not as bad as I thought. I genuinely thought he didn't have the villagers here already. Wait. What? A reminder as to why you picked Zhuji on Rocky River. Because sometimes Bidlin smiles upon you. Okay. I don't know if I put this on Bidlin, but oh my god. So that ends up being, what is that, 48, 36? So he's got 84 there. And then, oh my god, he gets 2 more here as well? 96 food. 96 food and 25 stone. And then about 15 wood. That is wild. To just imagine if these berries weren't here, just shove them in a bit more. Quadruple berry stack. Oh my lord. That Dimu's regretting shooting that Khan arrow now. If it wasn't for that, I think he'd actually be in a very firm position. Because then you never get this Medigarden happening, right? Because you'd instead have Avali fighting tooth and nail over his own base still. Instead, there's this in the mid-map. But guys, there is an issue with this. If Dimu like builds a ram or 2, or just puts a bunch of Keshiks, you can burn this down. Oh wow, and Avali's going for Pulse Guards. That's kind of cool because Dimu didn't go for Keshiks, which is surprising. He will be going it now though, which is where Pulse Guards suck. Yeah. So this is kind of the intriguing part, is I think Avali got baited a bit because he saw archers. Pulse Guard aren't that bad against archers. The idea is you just cover your fast tech up with them, and then you get fast castle into proper Pulse Guard. Keshiks, however, are a nightmare. And also, by the way, these archers have value, guys. All of a sudden, you may be noticing those numbers are starting to trend downwards. This is really smart by Dimu. The archers don't need to dive the base, they just need to sit here. Because sitting here is the equivalent of idling, what, 3 villages almost? That's wild. Oh, Peace is disturbed. Peace is in shambles right now. I hope you like 0 resource meditation gardens, because we're heading there. Yes, come a fight. It's bad news as well, because the Keshik just arrived. Uh-oh. Only 1 spear as well. That's a depressing meditation garden. Oh my god. Dude, when you see wood disappear from the income, you know it's going bad. And remember, trade is scaling behind this. We're already up to 5, so that is level 1 of the Silver Tree activated. And we're trekking upwards. Guys, it had... Wait, I know the clickbait. Meditation garden bugged? Question mark. All this resource, no food, no wood, no stone. Peace truly has been disturbed. Avli revealing the army. Keep in mind though, to keep coming out this far, he can't go for attack. He's putting everything into the army right now. It's not a garden, it's a wasteland right now. Bloodbath commences. Keshik stand their ground against the pass guard. Shredder's coming in here, but the archers are going to kite to the backside of it, pulling the Chugenu further into the Keshiks. That one Keshik is actually tanked quite a bit, but the pass guard count a little bit too high, so it looks like Dumu is going to have to back off. Good fight coming out from Avali. Chugenu are now going to turn on the Khan, take him out. Spears are going to be brought down, and now the premium really lies on one side here. Dumu feels like he was lacking a bit here. And that's courtesy of the fact he invested in extra traders, right? Like, he went up to 7 very quickly here. Feels like he would have benefited more from an additional Keshik or 2. It's a good hold by Avali, and look at the resource bank as well. We are trending towards that castle timing. Would actually love to have seen maybe, like, blacksmiths here, but I think now for Avali, with this Chuganu count as low as it is, it's not worth it. I'm impressed with the Palace Guard though, man. These guys were memed on time and time again as an underwhelming and pathetic unit, not worth the 125 resources, but I think Avali found the solid timing here. He is just going to have to forfeit this area now. The reality of what's about to happen is that Castle's going to be in the way for him, but that means no more Palace Guard and more Keshiks coming from Dimmu. And once again, peace has been restored just to immediately be disturbed. Remember, we've never seen the full count of this. It's not 74 for full, because the stone's down to 19, but that's meant to be 25. So it is like, I think I said 96 food, and then about 10 wood plus 25 stone. Really solid meditation garden. Avali, a lot of gold right now. Wait. Did he run out of food? Oh my god, he ran out of food. What? And he can't play towards the deer, guys, because the deer is towards where Dimmu is right now, so that would kill him. So this is the negative of all the resources spawning on one side. Shaolin Monastery now on the way, but guys, with a lack of long-term food, that's still a problem. He has at least got the 8 stack of berries here, and he has got the Imperial Officials, so that's 2,500 food plus an extra 20%. So he's sitting on 3,000 food here. Still. The grand scheme of things, a lot of that could disappear fast here. Shaolin Monastery online. Lancer immediately queued up, but you need quite a few Lancers to overwhelm Keshiks. Remember, Keshiks can fight back from Nage behind with good micro, because the whole idea is you pull back injured ones and then bring them back into heal. Wonder, is Avali's goal to go after the trade instead? Uh oh. Wait, guys, I think that the Solitude might be permanently disturbed here. Typical Mongols ruining the peace in the neighborhood. Ooh, good cut here. Palace Guard and the Chuganu that remained actually went around the flank. Looks like they will get cleared up by a few archers and some Keshiks. But a little bit of eco damage done here, right? And forces a reaction, which slows down Dimmu on his approach towards the main. What do you guys think? Avali or Dimmu for this one? One's for Dimmu, two's for Avali. Avali's in kind of a weird position, right? Like, you know, he is age 3 versus age 2, but he doesn't have much of an army, and he's playing flank resources, which is dangerous. And he's exhausting them really quickly. I'm getting a bit worried for him, man. Count traders is up to 11. Shalamont, wait, no, dude, that's not how you use them. Oh, no. 200 food in a game where you have no food. A second Shalamont? Dude, that's 400 food just gone like that. This isn't sustainable. And Steel Arrow is already in for Dumu, which means these Lancers actually aren't that tanky against Mass Archer Keshik. They're cutting some trade, though. Reinforcements are starting to react to them. Still, no Blacksmith tech coming out from Avali. A raid now into the main. Keshiks are going to force a lot of idle time here. Lancers are trying to be annoying on the flank. I want to give some credit to Avali for trying to make this look somewhat competitive, but the problem is if Dumu can ever just frustrate this towards the main, Avali doesn't have an army to defend with. He doesn't have any eco upside either, right? He lost both Shaolin monks in this game. And food is drying up fast. And Lancers are starting to kind of evaporate, right? Like losing one Lancer here. Reminder, that's over 10% of Avali's army. Dead when one Lancer dies. Reminder, this is 100% of what remains. Avali, entire army forced to fight here. Keshik's just kind of frontlining. Archer's going for the trade on the villagers instead. He's going to force the garrison into both villages there, so well played by Avali. But with no undermesh still, this hurts so much. Eco being sniped. Avali, what do we do now? He has got the boar over here, so you can get 2,000 food there. However, Keshik count is now up to 10, double that of the knight count. And I love this. He peels back the Keshiks because the archers are disposable, right? Throw them away, distract the Lancers, and then re-engage with Keshiks. Looks like Avali was aware of it, but now with the heavy injuries he's taken, the fact that the archers just go after villages instead, it's getting worse and worse. It's now a 15 eco lead for Avali. That's for Dumu, rather. Avali, that would be music to his ears right now because this game's getting ugly. It's going to be a sneak out towards the center. Credit to him. So far, a move that has gone relatively unnoticed, actually. Question is, how much longer will it go unnoticed like that? Looks like Dumu's taking the easiest path to a win here. Spearman now being added in. I mean, Avali's only building Lancers. He doesn't have the bandwidth for anything else in this game right now. And the cool thing for Dumu is if you start building spears, your Keshiks can go looking for economy. Trade count is at what? 15. So we're getting full Silver Tree effect now. The Silk Road is a luxurious thing. What was that scream? Everything in the Zhuji Empire is the short answer. Does Dumu just all in feudal here? I'm not even sure if he needs castle yet. Map control is more valuable, right? Like you're playing into traders, so you kind of need to have enough army to spread out. Avali is doing a good job of getting some free kills on traders here. However, it looks like Dumu is starting to get wise to this. Oh, that's interesting. Dumu never scouted the right side, so this is going to be a revelation for him. One that might find the boar pack and lead into the berries. So going to dive in the main again, though, Dumu. Very fixated on this. I wonder if Blacksmith's siege engineering would have been worth it, right? Like he's already got the Blacksmiths up, so going for a ram here would have made this probably a lot easier to break. However, Avali now has some gold issues. No relics home still. And you don't really want to task these guys with gold gathering, right? You need food. Oh my god, speaking of the gold gathering, Shalamont gets found trying to go for the relic on the flank, so Keshik is going to hunt him down. Alright, that works too. Yeah, a little bit zealous to just send one injured Keshik there. This is kind of awkward because if Dumu doesn't kill that monk, he's going to fully heal. And I don't see more troops coming. Instead, he's gunning for the main. Undermesh now on the way. Avali not supervising it though, which means it's 40 seconds for Dimmu to still get a good trade with these archers. Keshiks do arrive. Crossbow counter, a grand total of 1 for Avali. Interesting that he's on wood considering he has 800 and no use for it. The problem right now is Avali doesn't have the time to get out anywhere else. Deer on the forward. He's already got too much invested on the eastern flank. If he sticks more over there, it's going to be obvious. Because the moment Dimmu will see that empty wood line and nothing in the main, he'll know where to look. So right now, Avali's kind of just bluffing that he's at home. Dimmu is admittedly falling for that bluff. It's kind of weird, right? Like, you're seeing a lot of Palace Guard, but remember, Palace Guard can lose to Keshiks. The reason is that if you have equal numbers, the sustain Keshiks bring is big. And also, they're a unit that does inherently have, what, more health, more effective HP because they've got the melee armor, something that Avali simply forgot to get. Guys, this is over. This isn't even close anymore. Dimmu activates the attack speed arrow when he realizes Avali has to stand his ground. And wave after wave is now just surging in. So this is going to be a win from Feudal Age. GG, what a sucky Civ, right? Losing to Feudal Civs? What's the point? Oh, man. It's crazy to think that Avali began this game revealing Dimmu's attempt at a really powerful outpost, ruining him, then getting an insane Meditation Garden drop. And yet, despite all those details, we still end up here. This is all Dimmu, though, baby. Good understanding, good timing, good reading the situation. That idea to just disturb the peace was huge. It forced Avali into an engagement he wanted no part of because his real goal was fast castle. But you notice what happened, right? He ran out of food at a critical point where the Meditation Garden was meant to be the difference. That screwed the entire plan for him in this game. Jushi's fine, the meta's bad for them. That's the definition of a Civ being bad then. If you're out of meta, it's typically because you're weak. That means something in the game has to change for you to be good. I think all that's left really is Dimmu to go castle. He's got more than enough to now just get there. The biggest problem with Jushi is they lack flexibility in the early game. They have reasonable economy, but that's kind of it. The late game is fine. Like, I actually generally just think the issue with this Civ is in the early. They need archers more than anything else, I think. Archers wasn't really the issue in this game in particular. I think he just got outplayed by Dimmu. Villagers die, and there we go. Mongols from the feudal to get the dub. Meditation Garden eternally disrupted. Oof. Jushi's terror bad unless it's water, pretty much. Also, I'm just typing this one out. Peace disturbed. Broken meditation gardens must be broken. There we go. That's a confusing one to read. Cool game, though. Alright, I don't think we have enough time for another one, guys, because my bouldering... I'm going to get picked up for bouldering soon. But I will be back on EGC tomorrow as well as Sunday. I'll be hosting on both days. So you'll be able to catch me there. Plenty of Age of Empires 4 to come. And then next week, 25th, we will be checking out Project Loki. And there should also, hopefully, we'll get confirmation about Battle Aces and getting access to that, because I'd love to check out some Battle Aces too, which my understanding is there's an open beta starting on the 25th of that. So, guys will actually get to see me play some games and show off some pretty cool games. Battle Aces does look intriguing to me, and I know firsthand experience, Project Loki is absolutely incredible. So, pretty hyped for that. Let's see who we can raid, though. Of course, Anatan comes on now. If you get into Battle Aces, you'll snipe me. Ooh, challenge accepted. For a second I feared, but then I remembered it was NA. We play EU servers. I don't know if they have like ping issues in that particular game. That'd be kind of intriguing. What way to get done dirty, right? No, I hope they've got some plans around team games in particular. I think their format could be very intriguing for team play, if I'm being honest. EU service like AoE4 basically. Yeah, but AoE4 has like an inherently built-in ping, like delay, in my opinion, that makes lag less noticeable. It's still noticeable. I think it's less noticeable than, like, for example, if you play Dota or HOTS or League. Right? The fact that it's not as micro-intensive of a game as well, like, you know, AoE4 is more of a macro-heavy game than a micro-heavy game, also helps it. But what we'll do, I think, let's have a look here. Lashipu did just come online, so I guess we'll get ready to raid Lash in a sec. Yeah, if you guys haven't already, remember, check out Proteinworks. They're back with us for a second month. I just show all the goodies. I don't know if you guys saw them. Do you want me to show them again? They sent us all these goodies. And they have sales where it's like 50, 60, 70% off. And my code will still get you an extra 10% off on top of that. So Killer Pigeon at checkout. But we've got a bunch of things in there. We've got breakfast goodies, some quinoa. We've got some porridge. We've got some pancake mix, coffee, delicious spread. I'm going to have to try that. We've also got the chicken and noodles. I'm looking forward to that. As well as the cream of tomato. Actually, might have some of that a little bit later. Yeah. Check them out. Been enjoying our Proteinworks care pack so far. And they're clearly showing that they actually believe in you guys and in the channel because they came back for a second month in a row, which is always a good sign. So use those codes. Definitely supports me. Lets them know that it's worth investing in this channel and investing in you guys. And the deals are good, man. Like I think we said, like, I'm not a crazy coffee person. I was able to get through one of their coffees, which is a really impressive thing for me. But the other thing is, I think those things worked out at under £1 per coffee for like some premium coffee, which is really nice. The caramel latte one was, like I said, decent. And that's coming from a guy who hates coffee. But what I'll get ready to do now is I'm going to raid through Delash. I will be back on EGC Saturday, Sunday, and then we should have a stream on Monday, and then we'll hop into some different games for like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I actually might do a 5-stream week next week. Maybe more. We'll have to see. But there we go. I'll prep the raid across the Lash. Have some fun with him. Always an amazing dude. Pinnacle, absolute pillar of the German community, which we'd love to see. But that's going to be it for me. Farewell, folks. Hopefully you'll join me tomorrow for the final weekend of Master of Realms, where ironically the acronym is more. And at the end, I have a feeling you guys are going to be crying out for more.